helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Jets defensive end Hassan Reddick did not report for training camp today because he hasn't gotten the new contract he's been seeking. New York did try to sign him at the time of his trade from the Eagles and still is open to that, but won't negotiate with a player not in camp. A few days after requesting a trade because of a contract dispute, 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk did report to camp. GM John Lynch told reporters they expect Ayuk to be an important part of the team as he's been. ESPN's Ryan Clark understands that thought process.
We're looking at a team that feels like they have everything they need to compete again for a championship in 2024. So why would they trade for future assets? Why would they trade for a piece that may not do, or pieces that may not do for this team what Brandon Ayuk does? And so that's going to be the position here of the 49ers.
Ryan Clark on Carlin versus Joe. Lynch said the Niners will continue contract talks with Ayuk. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reporting to camp after he and the team worked out a contract adjustment. Patriots QB Jacoby Brissett entering camp as their starter.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming on Wednesday, we continue our ESPN Rank 'em series with my top 5 college football players you should be on the lookout for your NFL team. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered next hour. Greg Auman from Fox Sports talking some NFC South in hour 3. We got a ton to do, so let's begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
A little bit of breaking news earlier today. Our buddy Nick Underhill over at NewOrleans.football. The news a lot of people were waiting on is the Saints today, Tuesday, reporting for training camp. And they open up practice out in Irvine, California on Wednesday. Remember, Alvin Kamara was absent, left mandatory minicamp a month ago. Contract situations, it was unclear if Kamara would show for training camp. Nick Underhill earlier Tuesday reporting Alvin Kamara has reported with the Saints for training camp. So, practices get underway on Wednesday out in Irvine, California. It looks like Alvin Kamara will be there. Much more on that as we move throughout the show, because I do want to talk a lot about the running back position today. We'll do that, as a matter of fact, coming up in hour number 3. Here on the eve of the Saints hitting the practice field for the first time, Derek Carr was a guest on Pardon My Take over at Barstool. And I was talking to Muse earlier because Muse cuts the audio, and Muse listens to endless amounts of audio. I would say I feel bad for you, but I actually don't feel bad for you because I've done that for a long time. And so it's just your turn to listen to endless amounts of audio now. But you enjoyed this? It was different?
Yeah, it was different, man. Look, and I'll give a hat tip, obviously, to the PMT guys. They do a good job. It's a fun, loose environment. You guys really open up, and it was actually enjoyable because I'll just be honest, Derek Carr's normally really boring.
Really boring.
Like really
Not
boring.
Good. Yeah, it's bad. Well, anyway, so one of the things Derek Carr talked about was all the injuries. Mickey Loomis alluded to this as well in the offseason, that Carr really played injured a year ago, and he did. I mean, he had shoulder injuries, concussions. I mean, there was a point last year where I legitimately said, hey, at some point, this guy's got to start thinking about family and future when you continue to have concussions. But anyway, here was Derek Carr listing all his injuries.
Full list. Oh, man, 2 concussions, some stuff about my shoulder that it was jacked up.
Okay. Jacked up shoulder.
Jacked up shoulder. And then two different broken ribs.
So how long after the season ended did you feel like you were back to 100%? Or maybe the answer is you're not yet.
No, I definitely I feel 100% going into camp, so that's awesome.
Okay.
I was able to do everything. My shoulder didn't feel good until probably when we were coming back in April. That one, it just took a while.
Yeah.
That one just took a while. But they told me it was going to take a while, but it is what it is.
Okay. Derek Carr, really tough guy. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, we talked pretty openly about it that a year ago they should have looked at it and said, hey, man, for yourself and your longevity, why don't you take a week, It's the reason you had Jameis Winston there. So nobody's denying that Derek Carr is a really tough guy. He was also asked an interesting question. And my ears kind of perked up a little bit when I heard it because he said, the question was, what does the media get wrong about him? Give a listen.
I absolutely worked my tail off. I've tried from the beginning to be someone that kids could look at and be like, he does things the right way. He grinds. He's maxed out whatever God gave him, and he's going to be a great teammate, and he's going to play consistent, hopefully good football.
Okay. Stop it right there. He goes on for another 30 seconds or so. I'm going to get to that. But I don't have any problem with what Derek Carr said right there. And by the way, I don't disagree or think anybody disagrees, right? We all agree Derek Carr is a good man, husband, father, human, teammate, all that stuff. Like nobody, I don't know that anybody has said anything to the contrary. It's very clear. Played through injuries, tries to represent himself in the organization very well. All of that is true. But two things can simultaneously be true. That Derek Carr is both a good man, a good person, a good teammate, a good husband, a good father, a good role model, all those things, and be a mediocre at best quarterback. Like both of those things can be true. And I think they are true. But he went on.
The one thing I can't get rid of is on Instagram, these people put these lists out of quarterback ranking. And so I think the disrespect of some of the stuff I've been able to accomplish and stuff I've put on film, even the last half of last year, I was like, bro, the last half of last year was probably my best football I've played, and 2016 MVP season that people want to talk about in this season. That's I feel like I'm getting better. I got comfortable. I love my teammates. So I don't know what people are saying, but I just feel like I'm still that guy. None of it matters until you go prove it.
Hey, Muse.
Yeah?
Did Derek Carr win an MVP in 2016?
No.
Was that an alternate reality that I just missed?
He did not win an MVP in 2016.
Is that a glitch in the Matrix?
It could be.
Did we miss Derek Carr's MVP season in 2016?
I mean, I didn't. I remember that very, very vividly. He did not win the MVP.
He's a good player, and they were 12-3 in the 15 games that he started. Of course, very unfortunate, got injured at the end of the season, didn't get to play in the playoffs. I think didn't Matt McGloin play the playoff game that year for them?
That sounds correct. That? I mean, we can look that up.
You can look that up, but I'm almost certain, Derek Carr didn't win the MVP in 2016. He did throw for 3,900 yards and had a very, very fine season that year. I'm looking at it right here, as a matter of fact. 28 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Very good season. That was also 8 years ago. And I'm not so concerned with what Derek Carr was 8 years ago. But I can also look at that and say, that was kind of your outlier. Because you didn't go to the playoffs. Yeah, what you got? Was
Connor Cook.
Oh, it was Connor Cook. Oh, the
Michigan
pride
State
of Michigan
legend.
State.
Yeah.
How about that, East Lansing? Yeah, Matt McGloin. No, probably a little bit later there. I don't know where, but Matt McGloin did play for the Raiders at one point, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, anyway.
I'm certain.
And how about Derek Carr saying doesn't really pay attention to it, but all those Instagram lists. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe, how would you know about all those Instagram lists there, Derek, if you don't pay attention to all those Instagram lists? So I don't know. I sent Muse on a fact-finding mission today to find out about some of these Instagram lists. You want to just dip into the grab bag there, Muse? Grab one of them?
Yeah, sure.
Share an Instagram list with us.
All right, so we have an Instagram list right here from All Sports Culture.
Oh.
Yeah.
All Sports Culture.
Yeah, they ranked the quarterbacks by the divisions by quarterbacks.
Got it.
The NFC South was 8th.
Oh, yeah, look, there's Derek Carr.
He was
there
third.
He is.
Third
in there.
third in the division.
That's All Sports Culture, by the way.
All Sports Culture.
Yeah. Derek Carr, not paying attention to All Sports Culture. No doubt about that.
Nope, not paying attention.
What else you got? Yeah.
He's also not paying attention to Rookie Rager. And let me tell you, it's a good thing he's not.
Rookie Rager?
Rookie Rager.
Sounds legit.
Well, they listed their top quarterback rankings. They only went up to 15. He wasn't in the top 15.
Didn't make 15?
Didn't make top 15.
Look at this. Rookie Rager's got Aaron Rodgers down at 15.
Yeah.
Huh. They got Geno Smith at 12. I'd say Rookie Rager. Controversial. What a hot take artist Rookie Rager is.
Hot takes
That
all
guy,
around.
I don't know that I'm all big on Rookie Rager. I don't agree with that guy at all.
Okay. Well, maybe you'll agree with Gridiron Gridlock. They released their quarterback rankings.
Oh, did they?
They did.
Yeah. What did Gridiron Gridlock have to say?
They had Derek Carr, number 22.
I don't know. That feels kind of like that's on par with what some legitimate news outlets may actually have.
Yeah. Some of them. I mean, we could go look at Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, that one I've heard of before.
You've heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They had Derek Carr at 21. So, yeah, kind of on par there with our guys at Gridiron Gridlock.
So we're saying that Gridiron Gridlock and Pro Football Focus are what and what? So if you're paying money to subscribe to Pro Football Focus, you should also be following, what is it again?
Gridiron Gridlock.
Got it. Gridiron Gridlock. Got it. Yeah.
And while you're at it, following Gridiron Gridlock, you might want to take a stroll over to Pro Football Impact.
PFI.
PFI.
Oh, now nothing says football relevancy.
I mean,
like PFI.
They're right there,
Pro
21.
Football Impact.
Number 21.
Oh, look, here's that list. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, see, this is really smart what they did on Instagram.
A carousel?
They did a carousel.
Yeah.
Because every time you click the carousel, you get another impression. So one person visits your carousel, you click 3 times, 3 impressions. Those guys at Pro Football Impact, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Super savvy.
Good at
Congrats
the
to
social
them.
media. Good
Congrats
at the quarterback
to them on
rankings.
all the success, Pro Football Impact.
Not their first rodeo,
Nope,
man.
it's not. What else we got?
Well, fantasy football therapist.
Who?
They took, your therapist for fantasy football.
I tell you, I've heard of Pete Sampras. Haven't heard of fantasy. What was it again?
Fantasy football therapist.
Got it.
Over there on Instagram.
Oh, they went carousel as well. Let's see,
They
1
did.
through 12. There's Jaden Daniels at 12.
Jaden
They're
Daniels at
super
12.
high on
Yeah.
the rook.
From
How
a little
about
fantasy
that?
impact.
I don't even know what that is. They're not even there. So he's
No.
not even on this?
He's not even in the top 2 tiers of fantasy quarterbacks for 2024.
Oh, well, I get it. I mean, Jaden's going to run a good bit. He's going to put up some good numbers. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I mean, you got Chris Olave, you got Alvin
Sure.
Kamara.
No,
I mean, there's
think those
plenty of guys
fantasy
to
football
distribute.
impact guys. No, a therapist. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Fantasy football therapists
Fantasy football
know exactly
therapist.
what they're talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, like,
Good.
they didn't even have him in their top 2 tiers.
No.
CBS did a tier list.
Yeah, did they?
They did.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. They had Derek Carr in tier 5.
Yeah, I'm not even scrolling through that.
With
trying to find it.
Gardner Minshew and Geno Smith and Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield.
Oh, here's the executive thing we did from ESPN. The ESPN executives that rank the quarterbacks.
Yeah, what'd they think?
I don't know. You tell me.
Okay. I'll pull that one up real fast.
Okay.
So this is only a top 10, right? You got to keep that in mind.
We've killed all the
the-
momentum. I have no idea where it went. Oh, here's a Chris Sims list as well.
Yeah, Chris Sims.
Okay, what did Chris Sims have to say?
No executive said anything about Derek Carr, actually.
Oh,
over
wait,
at
this is
ESPN.
he ranked 40.
He ranked 40 of
Oh,
them.
no, there he is. 22.
So,
Found
I mean,
him.
you know,
Found him.
Yeah.
There he is, 22. Chris
22 out of
Sims got him
40?
at 22.
Halfway there.
Man, 22.
How do you feel about Sniz fantasy football?
Excuse me?
Yeah, Sniz fantasy football.
Gesundheit.
They ranked the top 30 quarterbacks fantasy-wise. No Derek Carr. Not even in the top 30.
You hate to see it. I don't know much about it. I'll have to ask our buddy Darren Tietgen about this.
Yep.
Wait, not even in the top 30?
Not even in the top
How
30.
could you not be in the top 30?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the starting quarterback
Russell
in the
Wilson,
NFL.
Russell Wilson and Justin Fields made
They got
this
Bo
list.
Nix at 30.
Yeah.
And J.J. McCarthy at 20.
How about that?
Are you sure you didn't miss him?
Positive.
Wow.
I mean, do you see him?
What's going on, Sniz? Sniz just hates Derek Carr.
They might.
That's all there is to it.
They're Saints haters.
Well, since Derek Carr didn't pay attention to any of those Instagram lists that he mentioned, we were happy to share them with him. There you go.
I'm here to
That's
help.
what you missed. He was so on point for the first 20 seconds. And then he completely unraveled. You can't tell me all the Instagram lists have just got you wrong, man. And then tell me you're not paying attention to Instagram lists.
Why does that answer always go that way?
And all the disrespect. And oh, by the way, if Derek Carr is telling you that he played the best football of his career in the second half of last year, the Saints won 4 of their last 5, right?
Right.
Yeah. They beat Carolina, who's the worst team in the NFL. He was 18 of 26 for 119 yards and have a quarterback rating of 31.4. Then they beat Tommy Cutlets and the Giants, where he threw for 218. They lost to the Rams, and he threw for 319. But if you remember, that was the game where they were getting obliterated, and then they had 2 garbage time long touchdown drives that inflated the stats. They beat Tampa, where he was 24-32 for $197. That was an okay day. And then they blew out the Falcons, where he threw for 264 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, but he was sacked twice. I mean, what are you actually trying to do here, Derek? I mean, if that's your best football, you're a mediocre quarterback. You beat Tommy Cutlets and Bryce Young got blown out by the Rams. Tommy Cutlets. That was so. Remember that guy? I love the guy's agent. The guy's agent with like the fedora and the chains and everything. Like central casting from a mob movie.
Bro,
so good.
They
Tommy
saw their
Cutlets.
moment,
So
and they
good.
fully went into it. They leaned all the way in.
Show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the Saints. Probably going to need to drink a lot of Bud Lights on Sunday this fall, Muse, just to get through this Saints season. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Shea Dixon's next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Y'all, rain, go away, and all that stuff right now. But remember, with rain comes a lot of pests. If it's anthills or all the other stuff, Clegg's has everything you need to get the unwanted pests out of your lawn, your garden area. So if you have weeds, they have weed killer. If you have anthills, they've got, obviously, things that'll knock those out. I tell you all the time about the Auman mosquito barrier. It's an amazing product the size of a track baton with the granules in it. You fill it up to the fill line, shake it up, hang on your property line. Boom, you're done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. It's an unbelievable product. I mean, we have a pool and water behind our house, and we don't have a mosquito problem. It's almost unheard of. There's no other treatment we use, just that product from Clegg. So get on by and see them. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Performing is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Always appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Still get your tickets for that LSU John Deere Gator. They'll be raffling off the week of the Vanderbilt game in Tiger Stadium. Go to sunequip.com. All the proceeds benefit FFA and 4-H. Shea Dixon joins us as he does every Tuesday. How are you, Shady?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing awesome, man. Hey, a big weekend for the Tigers. They land Derek Meadows, miss on Jabari Antoine. Let's get a thought on both those. With the addition of Meadows and already having Teron Francis, is LSU done at receiver for this class?
No, they'll want more than two. And look, they've got now the number one receiver in Louisiana, rankings-wise, in Teron Francis out of Edna-Carr, and then a top 10 receiver, but not one that we had talked about a ton, in Derek Meadows. It ends up being the guy out of Bishop Gorman, who's ranked number one in Nevada, but the number 7 overall receiver in the country. And Corey Moore at one point had committed. Guys like Khalil Lockett and Jamie French have made visits, and they're 5-star receivers who remain uncommitted, and others have committed to other schools that visited. But they got in on Derek Meadows and beat out Notre Dame, who was the presumed longtime favorite. Look, LSU only got a couple of visits out of Meadows. He said he had gone to Notre Dame, I think he'd counted 8 or 9 times during his recruiting process. Originally, he's from the Midwest, from Michigan. So Bryce Underwood chipped in here. Obviously, Cortez Hankton and Joe Sloan get some credit. And I think you see what the selling point of a top-ranked class, an offense that finished number 1. A couple more first-rounders at receiver, and then having a quarterback like Underwood, the number 1 overall prospect in the country, being part of the pitch to come to LSU was enough for Derek Meadows to pick the Tigers. And look, Bama, Georgia, there were other teams in the mix here beyond Notre Dame. Now, I don't think 2 receivers will be enough, certainly not in the portal era. And even then, they don't have they have a talented receiver, not a super deep one right now. So what's next? I'd say in Louisiana, you always watch somebody. Philip Wright would be that guy. He's going to be a senior at Destrehan. Obviously, a ton of Destrehan guys have gone to LSU. They recently got a commitment from a Destrehan player in Jace Thomas, and one of his fellow 2025 classmates is Wright, and he's committed to Michigan right now, committed earlier this month, but they've really turned up the heat on him here, I'd say, over the course of the spring and into the summer. So he's the guy I'm watching, and then can they pull up another one of these Derek Meadows types? Like what happens with a guy like Khalil Lockett, a guy like Jamie French, who is a 5-star, yes, lives in Jacksonville, but his mom grew up in the Felicianos. She went to Southern. They have a lot of families still living in the area. So can they kind of pull off, maybe not a surprise, but another really big fish? We'll see. But a very nice, solid kind of 1-2 punch here at receiver for him.
Shea, on the flip side, on Saturday, they missed out on Jabari Antoine, who picked Miami. First of all, do you think that's done? Because there seems to be some thought that LSU will keep pressing and maybe could get Antoine in this class.
You know, I think that it's always kind of a wait until signing day with Louisiana guys, certainly. We've seen them flip a number of guys late. Look, Dominic McKinley, the 5-star, was committed to Texas A&M for much of this process and ends up being a late flip. So you monitor these guys all the way until the end. Now, he had been committed to LSU since January, and Matt, when a guy decommits and then in very short order announces or reveals that, hey, I'm going to make a new college announcement here in a couple of weeks, and I've got a top 3. What are your chances of regaining that commitment in short order? Pretty low. Now, LSU, after they got DJ Pickett, kind of turned up the heat and said, hey, if you want in, get in. But Antoine stuck with it. The plan was going to be Miami. That's who he committed to. And I'll say this, they will recruit him to signing day, but I talked to Aiden Anding for a bit today on the phone, the Ruston high cornerback, also a rising senior, and he recently got an offer about a month ago, right before he was going to announce a commitment. He was going to go to Texas, but paused on that, got an LSU offer, and now that the dead period is going to be over, he will be at the Bayou Splash this weekend. And he's a guy I think that with Jabari Antoine at Miami, I would keep a very close eye on to join a guy like DJ Pickett potentially as the next corner in the class.
Is Aiden Anding a guy, he's a 3-star Shea, but is that one of those guys who may be late developer, and as he moves through his senior year, you probably expect that star rating? I mean, I'm just looking at the offers he has, right? I mean, LSU and Texas and Arkansas, Miami and TCU, it's big name schools. So is that one of those things where maybe the star rating continues to climb throughout his senior year?
I won't be surprised if he's a 4-star in the next kind of wave of rankings updates, and not just because of the offers, but as people look kind of a little bit more at him. I mean, there's so many guys out there that you have to evaluate, and when you dive deeper into Aiden, I mean, he's a 3-sport athlete, as he was saying today. It could have been 4 if he could play baseball and fit it into his season, or I guess kind of annual calendar, but track, football, basketball, very nice verified track stuff. And he's got the film. Look, I'm not talking about huddle highlights. I mean, you watch complete games of him playing, and he is well coached. He's physical, and shows that he's a really good athlete. And kind of one thing I like, same with Destrehan and a lot of other guys, he's on a Ruston defense that's been one of the best defenses in the past couple of years. They have churned out FBS talent. So I think he comes in as not even a deep sleeper in Louisiana. It's a guy that, hey, you can't look up in 2 or 3 years, and this is a guy that you're kicking yourself that you didn't offer, and you're short on corners or whatever it might be. So, yeah, I think that the offer was a good one, and I think his ranking will end up being a 4-star when it's all said and done.
Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, you mentioned that Aiden Anding will be at the Bayou Splash this weekend. Give us a little bit of background on where we are on the calendar, what the Bayou Splash is.
So it's LSU's annual recruiting event. We've been in a month-long dead period. That ends Thursday. So starting Thursday, teams around the country have kind of one final big recruiting get-together, invite-only type thing, where there's no working out or anything like that. You just come in with family or whomever it might be and hang out with the staff, the commits, the top targets. And really, last year, it was funny that it was kind of a blend. It was about what was going to happen for this current class, right? Like that was when Bryce Underwood popped up on campus at the event, and DeCorian Moore was there, and they end up getting those guys committed. Obviously, DeCorian didn't stick, but a number of guys for the future. And this weekend they'll have that. Jakeem Stewart, the number 1 overall prospect in America, coming out of St. Aug, is going to be on campus. So there'll be that going on. But I was thinking back on it, Matt, and last year's Bayou Splash was very popular with LSU fans. On the Bengal Tiger, gosh, I think it was our most viewed thread of the year just because people were having fun with that many top guys being on campus. But I think they were ranked like 7 or 8 at the time, and everyone debated if they could finish top 5, and they did. But they were more excited that like guys like Underwood were on campus. And I think this time around, LSU, man, is ranked number 3. They've been ranked number 1 for months during this recruiting cycle. And you're getting guys to campus this weekend in this current class, like Jonah Williams, the number 1 safety, a 5-star multi-sport guy who Jay Johnson on the baseball side kind of helped pitch with the recruiting angle when he came on his football official visit. But we're talking about a guy coming out of Galveston that is the number 1 safety in the country, a top 15, 20 prospect as a 5-star. And then building on what is right now with 18 commits, I went back and looked. They haven't had 18 commits and had 16, large number of them, Matt. 16 of the 18 commits are 4-stars or 5-stars, and not just 4-stars or 5-stars, but in the on 300, so a top 300 prospect. Mm-hmm. It is the highest blue chip ratio in the country. It's the highest average per commit rating in the country. So when you talk about quality, LSU's there. When you talk about quantity, they're there. They're almost at 20 commits. So I think people are really eager to see how this class caps off and what guys like Jonah Williams and whomever else pops up this weekend that's uncommitted, Aiden Manning being one of them, who else do they add? Because this has a real shot to be the number one class in the country.
Shea, I got two things for you. One, you brought it up with Jakeem Stewart. We had talked several weeks back, I believe, maybe months ago, about him possibly reclassifying. Is there any update there?
Nothing new. Look, and I don't know if he could pull it off in short order. If he did, I would imagine it's even tougher to be a midterm grad if you haven't announced yet, if you're doing it. And so much about that's coursework, right? Like you've got to make up enough credit hours to graduate and already go to college. They were trying, but I haven't heard anything new there. I won't say I'll rule it out because I haven't asked here as coaches in the past couple of weeks. But last I checked, there was not an expectation that it was going to happen and that he would probably stick with this 2026 class. But we'll see.
Okay, and last thing, you mentioned Jonah Williams. They're the number one safety in the country for 2025. You know, Shea, I was talking to some baseball people yesterday, and I had one scout literally say to me, he's a bigger version of Dion. I mean, this is a top half of round one guy in next year's baseball draft, if he sticks baseball. Is there any feeling, I don't know to whatever degree you know, what the possibility or probability is of him actually showing up on a college campus and being a two-sport guy in college as opposed to just getting broke off next summer in the baseball draft?
I think it's high, and I think we can know that more than ever. And look, I do not know this to be fact, but I've talked to enough people who say that where his slot value in baseball would be, and kind of that number over the next 3 years, let's say that you would have been in college or that you would be in college, is where teams are approaching him with NIL. And I don't know if that's going to be first-round type money, but, you know, if you're in these NIL packages in like Oregon, you know, a number of big teams are on him. So there's kind of been some chatter that, hey, look, they're coming from the baseball side, the football side. And I'm not, look, I don't know as much as you or Han or any of the guys about baseball, but football-wise, I will say that I asked someone kind of not realizing, oh, man, I realize he's a really good two-sport athlete, a five-star, but the number one safety is kind of just now dawning on me. And they said, oh, this is a Jamal Adams. This is a Grant Delpit. This is a complete next-level safety to where those guys don't go in the first round in football unless you are that type of guy, and they felt like Jonah Williams is. So this is a high priority for them. I mean, coming out of East Texas, well, now he's at Ball, which is a Texas A&M heavy school. I've always thought this comes down to LSU and A&M. But, look, all the baseball shakeup at A&M made things interesting, and Texas was never in the picture, and he's going to visit Texas on Thursday and LSU on Friday. So we'll see if the Longhorns don't jump into the mix here.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. What a great time to go jump over there at on 3, especially with the Bayou Splash this weekend. Shea, we always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Matt.
All right, man, we'll do it again next week. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Go to the website, parishbuilt.com, hit the Restoration tab. This is that patented, non-toxic dry fog that you hear me talk about. It's efficient and it's cost-effective. You can have your home dry fogged in like half a day. They can get in there and out in just a matter of a few hours. Literally, they'll spray the fog, close all the doors. As soon as the fog dissipates, you're back in free, clear, clean-smelling home, pathogen-free, kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. I mean, even sometimes you have mold in your wall you're not sure of. It's worth doing. Great sanitization product for hospitals or schools before the school year starts. Give them a shout. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. From single-family residential all the way up to, they fogged literally one of the biggest commercial buildings in the entire state of Louisiana. So no matter literally how big or small the job is, Parish Restoration can help. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the Restoration tab to learn more. I'll be really interested to see what comes out of the Bayou Splash. A couple of names there. Shea mentioned there with Aiden Anding, the defensive back out of Ruston, Philip Wright, the receiver out of Destrehan. Could the Tigers get both those guys in the class? A couple more Louisiana prospects who both might well end up 4 stars by the time signing day comes, in December. But man, Brian Kelly and the staff right now, they are just absolutely churning. And this is a huge opportunity this weekend. You heard Shea say it a year ago at the Bayou Splashes where DeCorian Moore and Bryce Underwood first came to campus. So we'll see what may come of this weekend for LSU. Maybe expect fireworks again. Okay, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. Speaking of recruiting, Kim Mulkey with some pretty significant recruiting news. And the ACC commissioner just bathing in irony. We'll get to that. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. One of the things that I mention all the time when we talk about River City's 1 Hour Air is their membership club. And I'm a member of it. It's $25 a month, thereabouts. I highly recommend it. If for nothing else, because part of this club included is your seasonal maintenance. And they contact me. So whenever the weather is warming up, they say, Mr. Moscona, it's time for your AC tune-up. Whenever it's getting cooler, they call me and say, it's time for your heater safety check. And that service is completely complimentary as part of the membership club, so it pays for itself. Then on top of that, you get priority service, you get a discount whenever you get membership club pricing. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Of course, if you have an issue with your AC, give our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air a call. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun. Over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Comedian, producer, and actor Joe Gatto is hitting the road on his Let's Get Into It tour, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge is giving you a chance to see him live Friday, November 15th at the Raising Cane's River Center. Register to win tickets today at 1045ESPN.com.
All right, Joe Gatto.
Joe
That's
Gatto.
cat in Spanish. Muse, did you know that? Gato?
Yes, I was
Cat.
about to say, but I think it's pronounced Gatto instead of Gatto.
Well, so, I mean, change the pronunciation because
Yeah.
it's his name. So it's Gato and Perro. Perro is a dog. Gato is cat. Got it. I paid attention. Senora Macaron would be so proud of me right now. Love that lady. She's great. Marta McCarron. Senora Macaron. And Senora
Is that how you say
Gonzalez.
macaroni in Spanish? Macaron?
McCarron. McCarron.
Got
But when you'd say it, in Espanol, Macaron. Great lady. Love her. All right, it's after further review. We will go around the SEC here in just a quick second. Speaking of recruiting, we just had Shea there a bit ago. How about this for women's basketball? Aaliyah Chavez, the number one player in the country for this current recruiting class, has unveiled her top six. How about that? It's time for a top six list. Everybody needs a good top six list, don't we, in recruiting?
Agreed.
Gotta have a
Gotta
good
keep
top
it even
six
number
list.
there,
You do?
man.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
What about five? Well, that you definitely need it. Some people do top 3, top 5, top 11.
It's 11's too many.
Yeah. Sometimes you get those like my top 18.
Yeah.
And we're narrowing
Every
it
offer that I
down.
have.
Anyway, Aaliyah Chavez. She's a point guard. She's the number one player in the country. She's 5'9", out of Texas, and she has narrowed her six down to LSU, Texas, South Carolina, UCLA, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma. So those are her final six. The past 2 weekends, Kim Mulkey and the staff have actually been watching Chavez's AAU games. So Kim's in after it. She's taken a couple of unofficial visits already, most recently to LSU. She's already been at Texas Tech. So when I look at those six, just think about this. LSU, Texas, women's basketball. LSU, Texas, South Carolina, UCLA, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Like, LSU and South Carolina are kind of the outliers, right? In Texas, UCLA, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, like, why are they in there? I mean,
Yeah, for
LSU
sure.
and South Carolina are like really the premier blue blood programs right now. So anyway, we'll see how it all goes, but I don't know. It kind of feels like Kim Mulkey just always gets what she wants. So, like, if Kim Mulkey wants Aaliyah Chavez, probably going to get her, but we'll see. We'll keep following it. All right. It's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about our friends over at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, gentlemen, if you're thinking of popping the question this summer, do what Baton Rouge has done and all of Louisiana has done for nearly 40 years. Go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, where you will never get a man-made or a lab diamond. I mean, it's a science experiment. When we're talking about Lee Michaels, every diamond that goes in the case is hand-inspected by a family member. You know you are buying a true, beautiful diamond, highest quality from the finest diamond mines in the world. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe, guys, it's anniversary time. Maybe upgrade that ring that you so lovingly proposed with all those years ago. How about an upgrade? Now you can do it, trading that old diamond for a new, beautiful diamond from Lee Michaels. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Christine Gass, a 6'2", 215-pounder, has picked Tennessee over Georgia and USC. The number 204 overall prospect, the number 22 linebacker in the country, becomes the Vols' 18th commitment, which puts Tennessee back in the top 10 nationally for the class of 2025.
The Florida Gators.
Florida staffer Joe Hamilton is returning to Florida after a stint at Texas A&M. So he accepted a job with the Aggies in February, but now is going back to Gainesville. Hamilton is a Lewisville, Texas native. Originally showed up there in Gainesville prior to the 2022 season, was assistant director of player personnel, left to go join the Aggies recruiting staff, but now also spent 3 seasons, by the way, at ULL with Billy Napier, but now heading back to join Napier in Gainesville.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And outfielder Carson Hansen has flipped his commitment from Arkansas to Kentucky, originally committed to the Razorbacks on June the 16th out of University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Hansen was all Horizon League first team this past season, and with a .315 batting average. He's from Wisconsin. Initially was the Division II State Player of the Year, but now will wrap up his career in Lexington. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Real quick, I wanted to mention this. Our buddy Jason Ramazan, Mr. Fun's Travel, I was talking to Jason actually earlier today. He's down to 6 spots on that trip we've been telling you about. We're getting closer to LSU and USC kickoff in Vegas. If you want to fly, you can fly with us. That's me, Hester, T-Bob. We're all flying out to Vegas on charter air with Jason Ramazan, Mr. Fun's Travel. It's MRFUNS travel.com, MrFunsTravel.com. You've heard me talk about it over the years. There's just no easier way to travel. Like, you show up at the Baton Rouge airport. They have a separate check-in table. You go through security. You're at your own gate. You, like, walk onto the tarmac to walk onto the plane. When you land, like, you're just direct Baton Rouge to Vegas. When you land, there's a bus on the tarmac that takes you to the hotel. It's 4 nights at the Aria. In Las Vegas includes game ticket, bus transportation to and from airport, game, all that stuff. Like, it is just the best way to travel. So maybe think like early Christmas present, birthday present, anniversary present, something like that. Or if you want to go, again, like I told you it was going to sell out. He's got 6 spots left. So if you've been thinking about it, would highly, highly, highly recommend, don't wait anymore. It's MrFunsTravel.com. So it's MRFUNS travel.com, MrFunsTravel.com. Ask for Jason Ramazan when you give him a call over there. You can email. It's MrFunsTravel@gmail.com. But all the info's there at the website. Again, like literally, I mean, they're only taking 1 plane. So it's like when the plane sold out, it sold out. So there's like 6 spots left. So MrFunsTravel.com if you want to get more info there. All right, and T-Bob, Hester, and I will all be on that plane, so come fly with us, man. T-Bob will entertain everybody while we're in the air. He'll probably be crushing beer cans on his head and stuff. It'll be a gas. All right, it's After Further Review. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. When we come back, I want to wrap up hour number 1. Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, just bathing in irony today at ACC Media Days. I'll explain next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Darren James, number 14 in the country on the list that just came out a couple of months ago. I'll continue to sing Darren's praises every single day because I know Darren personally. He's a great friend. He's a good man, a good husband, good father, great businessman as well. And look, the results speak for themselves when you talk about being only 13 realtors in the entire United States of America closed more homes, sold more homes than Darren did a year ago, number 1 in the state of Louisiana. So if you're thinking about selling your home, why would you call anyone other than the best? Call Darren James, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. And if you haven't done it yet, download the new Darren James app. It's free in your app store right now. Remember, you need Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar.
She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy. We ride back and forth till we run out of light. Take it to the barn, put it up for the night.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Amid all the hoopla of ACC media days, of course, adding Stanford, Cal, SMU. Who am I missing? There's one more, right? Who else are they adding? This is going to be a challenge all year.
I think that's right. Stanford, Cal, and SMU.
This is going to be a challenge all year, keeping up with all the new leagues and who's where and all that stuff. Anyway, Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC. Oh, here you go. Cal, Stanford, SMU. Okay, it is just those three. Okay. So they're going to have an uneven number of schools in that conference? Who cares? It's the ACC. They're not going to amount to anything. But so Jim Phillips was asked about the Clemson-Florida State fiasco. Of course, both are trying to sue to get out of the league. And here's what Jim Phillips said.
We will fight to protect the ACC and our members for as long as it takes. We are confident in this league and that it will remain a premier conference in college athletics for the long-term future. These disputes continue to be extremely damaging, disruptive, and incredibly harmful to the league. This thing doesn't have to be evil. This thing doesn't have to be about hatred and all the other things that I think we all see kind of just free-flowing in our societies. It's important, and we've taken our stance, and we'll stay on that stance, but we'll do it in a very respectful way.
Okay, so I've said this for years. There was a great irony in the ACC grant of rights. So you know the grant of rights where all these teams agree to sign over their media rights to a league so that the league can then go negotiate a media deal for the entirety of the league that they'll all share equally in. Well, when all of the conference realignment was happening several years ago, the ACC signed this long-term grant and rights deal, and they thought what they were doing was solidifying their stability long-term. To say, hey, we have this long-term grant and rights, nobody's leaving, we're all locked in this room together. And the irony is that long-term grant and rights is actually what's killing the league. The thing they did that they thought was going to save them is the actual thing that's killing them, because you effectively locked yourself into a bad TV deal while everyone else's revenues keep growing and yours are stagnant. For example, last year the Big Ten distributed $60 million to each of its members. The SEC distributed $51 million. The ACC down at $43 million. So, and by the way, the SEC's new TV deal, their number this year is going to increase dramatically. We've heard estimates that'll push $100 million per member institution, while the ACC is going to be stagnant because they signed this long-term grant and rights. So the thing they did they thought was giving them stability is actually the thing that's killing them. And also, how contradictory of Jim Phillips to say, we're going to fight for as long as it takes, and then also said that the conference is, quote, bigger than any one or two schools. If the conference is bigger than any one or two schools, then why not let those one or two schools leave? Clearly, the conference is not bigger than one or two schools. Because if you let Clemson and Florida State out, you nosedive, you faceplant. You are the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma. You have no alpha. You have no bell cow. You're just this homogenous blob of mediocre where you let schools like SMU just buy their way in. Oh, media distributions? Oh, we don't need it. We don't need a rev share. We're good. You can keep for 10 years. We're good. Just let us in, please. Well, here's all the monies, all of it. You know that stockpile of cash we used to give Eric Dickerson a Trans Am back in the day? That's grown exponentially. We got you covered. Oh, my God. Can you imagine, like, if you're a boss, like forcing your employee to stay at your place of business? Like, can you imagine if you're in a relationship, forcing your significant other to stay in a relationship where you're not happy? Like, that's what's happening here. They think, and they're doing it for their survival, but they're killing themselves from within, which is the crazy part about this whole thing with the ACC. I mean, I know where this all inevitably ends. We're not going to have conferences. It's going to be one college football. I've said that for years. But the ACC may be the next to crumble. All right, hour number 2 coming up after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Hey, go to the website. If you're thinking of buying tires, if it's almost time, you're noticing, man, tires getting a little bald, tread's wearing off that tire, it's probably time for new tires. Go to the website at ShawBillsTire.com, and at the top of the page, hit the promotions tab. Start there, because you'll see all the great deals that they have at Shaw Bills. And the thing I tell you every single day is that at Shaw Bills, and this is part of the Charlie's dozen, they guarantee it. It's Charlie's price match guarantee. They will sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. They'll combine manufacturer's offer with their in-house offer, the Shaw Bills credit card, and they will get you the best price possible on the best tires on the road. And if you find those tires advertised cheaper somewhere else, they'll refund you 125% of the difference. It's at Shaw Bills. Learn more at ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Jets defensive end Hassan Reddick's contract stalemate continues as training camp kicks off. He did not report today because he hasn't gotten the new deal he's been looking for. Despite his trade request, 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk did report to camp. GM John Lynch told reporters they expect him to remain with the team going forward. ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
You do everything within reason to get a deal done, Laura. Look, he's 26 years old, 25 career touchdowns. Last year he had 105 targets, which was the most of anybody. George Kittle was second with 90, and what he can do is take the top off of coverage. He's explosive, he's athletic, and he's only going to get better.
Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reported to camp after he and the team worked out a contract adjustment. Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett is their starter going into camp because he's the most pro-ready, according to Coach Gerard Mayo. Mayo, though, did leave the door open that rookie Drake May could overtake Brissett. NBA veteran guard Reggie Jackson's agreed to a buyout with the Hornets. He plans to sign with the 76ers after clearing waivers, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Philly adding another veteran to come off the bench.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, we continue our ESPN Rankem series with my top 5 college football players you should be on the lookout for your NFL team. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. He'll be here in 15 minutes from right now. Greg Auman, Fox Sports, 1 hour from right now. Excited to have Greg here. Greg covers the entire NFC South for Fox Sports, and I want to ask him what's the biggest camp storyline for each of the 4 NFC South teams. Again, we'll do that 1 hour from right now. Glad to have you aboard with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR, a day where the New Orleans Saints are reporting for training camp, and they hit the practice field tomorrow. Dennis Allen expected to speak to the media this evening. Remember, they're in Irvine, so a 2-hour time delay. As I understand it, he's supposed to speak with reporters at like 5:45 Central this evening. So there'd be like 3:45 in Irvine. So a lot of, just prepare yourself. A lot of what you might be accustomed to as far as camp availability and accessibility is just going to be later this year because of the Saints being out camp 2 hours prior. The big news for the Saints today is that Alvin Kamara, Nick Underhill had it first. Alvin Kamara has reported to Saints practice, so that's fantastic news for the Saints. We could do all the intangible distraction, this or that, but the bottom line is Kamara's still a guy that you're paying handsomely. He's been a key part of your organization since 2017. You need him to be healthy and at his best, and you're working in a new offense. It would be different. It would be different if this was still Sean Payton, Pete Carmichael, and he knew the players and the terminology and the plays and everything. Like if he knew all of it, it would be different. But it's a new OC, it's a new scheme, it's new terminology, it's new. So you don't have any wasted days. Yes, we often use the Mike D line, practices for the unskilled, and I'm with it. Like, more than anything, you want Alvin Kamara healthy and ready to roll for week 1. But yeah, I do want Alvin Kamara out there for camp. Even if it's just mental reps, I want him with the team. So I'm glad that he's out there. All right. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. One of the things that is a very common exercise around camp are the 53-man roster projections. Our friend Kat Terrell, Saints reporter for ESPN.com. We love Kat. She does a great job. And she put out her 53-man roster projection. So I always comb through these. I understand that it's just one person's opinion and everybody does 53-man roster projections. Kat just posted hers at ESPN today, so I saw it and decided to run through it. A couple of interesting takeaways. And I guess one more thing real quick before I delve into this. And this is a caveat that I throw out every year around this time. I am a training camp nerd, okay? I am a preseason football nerd. Self-described. I admit it. I know not everyone listening to my voice right now loves NFL training camp. I get it. It's practice. And 90-man roster is going to be cut down to 53, and most of the guys out there practicing right now are going to be bagging groceries in a week, right? I don't mean any disrespect, but you get my point. Like, realistically, in a given year, there's maybe like 4 to 6 roster spots available in training camp. For the most part, 47, 48 roster spots. Like, they're locked in when you open up camp. And you're trying to find who are those last guys. Who's the undrafted rookie free agent that's going to make the team? Who's the free agent signing that's going to beat out an incumbent? Something like that, right? So that's really what you're looking for. And I get it. Most of you are like, yeah. Just tell me whenever the Saints kick off week 1. I get it. But I'm the nerd, so I'm going to be watching and following all this stuff, and I'll tell you what you need to know. It is rare for a team to keep 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. Kat Terrell has the Saints keeping 4. Derek Carr, Jay Kaner, Spencer Rattler, and Taysom Hill. She lists Taysom as a quarterback. That will be interesting just as the designation because of the emergency quarterback designation possibility. So what do the Saints list Taysom Hill as? Do they list him as a quarterback, or do they list him as a tight end, some other H-back type position? I don't know. By the way, in that interview that Derek Carr did on Pardon My Take, listen to what Derek Carr said about Taysom Hill in that interview.
Taysom's the best football player I've ever played with.
He really is.
So he can do everything.
He can do everything.
Throws, runs, catches, fullback, quarterback, tight end, receiver,
Blocks
slot,
punts.
blocks punts,
Yeah.
personal protector.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't, just because of how stats work, I don't know how it'll work, but like, that man is a Hall of Fame football player.
So I'm glad he threw in the caveat because Taysom Hill's not going to the Hall of Fame. He'll be in the Saints Hall of Fame and should be, but he's not going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because so many of those organizations and entities require a certain statistical level of achievement, right? And Taysom Hill's not going to have any of that. But I'll put it to you this way. If Devin Hester got in the Hall of Fame as a returner, why couldn't Taysom Hill get in the Hall of Fame as a guy who really excelled at a bunch of different things? Never was like a 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,000-yard receiver or starting quarterback, anything like that, but was elite enough of an athlete to be a contributor at all of these different spots on the field. Like, I would have said never, but watching Devin Hester go into the Hall of Fame as a return specialist, it gives you at least some glimmer of hope that there could be a path for him eventually there. I don't know, file it away, but it was interesting to hear Derek Carr say that's the best player I've ever played with. He's played with Devontae Adams. Like, Cam Jordan, I think, is going to be a Hall of Famer. But Derek Carr is telling you Taysom Hill is the best player he's ever played with. Anyway, 3 running backs. Cat has the Saints keeping. Kamara, Kendre Miller, Jamal Williams. No surprise there. Adam Prentice, the lone fullback. No surprise there. Receivers interesting because typically a team keeps 5 receivers. And you might get to 6 if you have a special teamer, a return man, a guy who covers kicks or punts, whatever the case may be. Here's the 6 that the Cat has the Saints keeping. Olave, Rashid, Bub Means, the draft pick out of Pitt, Cedric Wilson, the free agent signing from Miami, A.T. Perry, the second-year player, and Equinemius St. Brown. I don't believe they keep 6. I don't believe they keep 6 because I think they're going to find pass catchers other places, like Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson at tight end, Taysom Hill, your running backs with Kamara and Kendre Miller. I don't think they're going to keep 6 wide receivers. We'll see, but I don't think the 6 guys I just mentioned are all going to make the team. I think the first 5 she had are probably right. Olave, Shaheed, Means, Wilson, Perry. I think Equinemius St. Brown is probably the odd man out, but we'll see. Cat does have the Saints keeping 3 tight ends, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, and Dallin Holker, who, here we go. Muse, we're high on, this is our guy, right?
He's our guy.
We're high on Dallin Holker. I know everybody's high on him, and maybe he's great. Look, he's a guy who started his career at BYU, went to Colorado State, is a productive pass catcher. I just feel like I've seen this movie before. Did we ever find out what the guy's name was?
No, Pitt? Man, I was looking for
right now. Look him up right now. The undrafted free agent from Pitt last year that the Saints signed. We're trying to remember his name yesterday. I couldn't even remember it. It's like every year we have one of these guys that we talk about that we think is going to be the guy. I mean, look, Juwan Johnson was an undrafted free agent as a receiver from Oregon that they converted to a tight end, a pass-catching tight end, and it stuck. The one thing I will say for Dallin Holker, not knowing a ton about him, is when you look at Clint Kubiak throughout his career, he more leans on the prototypical tight ends. So just worth filing away and seeing that. The 9 offensive linemen, I think she nailed it. Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Fuanga, Penning, Saldivari, Landon Young, Oli Udo, Lucas Patrick, Shane Lemieux. I'd be surprised if it went any other way than that. On the D-line, the one surprise, Cat has the Saints keeping Christian Boyd. Christian Boyd is the UDFA out of Northern Iowa. Remember, was a defensive lineman who was a teammate of Trevor Penning's at UNI. So she has him making the team. Linebackers, the one surprise there, Jalen Ford, undrafted free agent out of Texas, making the team along with Davis, Werner Gay, and DeMarco Jackson. And then at corner, all the guys you'd expect, except she does have the Saints keeping Shamar Jean-Charles as well. So as sort of a backup special teams player. The safeties, everyone you would expect, Matthew, Abram, Howden, J.T. Gray, Will Harris, the free agent signee. And the specialist was Zach Wood, Lou Headley, and Blake Grupe. But remember Charlie Smith, the international player that the Saints signed in the offseason. We saw it last year with the Saints replacing both of their veteran specialists. Maybe this could be another year where that happens. I wouldn't say anything is locked or solidified among the specialists going into this year. All right, so first, 53-man roster, hat tip, Cat Terrell. You want to go read through all the reasoning you can at ESPN.com. The one big disagreement I would have there, I don't think the Saints are going to keep 6 wide receivers. And I don't know that Taysom Hill is going to be listed as a quarterback, but we'll see. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for being here with us. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Let me knock out a quick break. Chris Phillips, got a chance to meet Chris over at SEC Media Days last week. He is the brains behind SEC Unfiltered. We'll get some reaction and recap from SEC Media Days with our buddy Chris Phillips next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown there on Bluebonnet. Watermark voted by you the best hotel in the Best of 225 Awards. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property, the original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building. And I'm telling you, man, it is a gorgeous sight to behold. You go in, you look up in the ceiling, you see all the art that's the original art in the building. It's 100 years old. You see all the original marble, the staircases. It's gorgeous, but they've updated it with modern amenities. You have got to experience the Watermark Hotel, Baton Rouge's #1 hotel by you in the Best of 225. And, of course, the Renaissance, right there on Bluebonnet, across from Perkins Row and the Mall of Louisiana. Love telling you about Tallulah and all the great events going on over there. Remember, the next evenings at the Renaissance is coming up on, forgive me, that was the last one. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. It's AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Go.
She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Had a chance to meet Chris Phillips over at SEC Media Days last week. He's the founder of SEC Unfiltered. Maybe a lot of people in these parts became acquainted with that site around Omaha in the College World Series. You can get it on Twitter at SEC Unfiltered, and he's at CPhilly19. Chris, good to chat again, man. How are you?
Matt, what's going on, man? I'm doing well. Kickoff can't get here soon enough, and it was great to meet you in Dallas, man. It was a really fun week.
Hey, man, we're close. I mean, next week we'll have fall camps open, and that really is sort of the real start whenever the snowball downhill starts rolling. Hey, real quick, for a lot of people who may be in our audience here all over Louisiana being sort of introduced to you for the first time, give us your background and how you started SEC Unfiltered.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. So you folks may recognize me from my previous venture, the Spurs Up Show. So I actually started as a South Carolina Gamecocks entity way back when in January of 2017, was born and raised a South Carolina fan. As the years passed, I just saw an opportunity, Matt, from the entrepreneurial perspective, and also just love talking ball, right? That, hey, this could be something that brings value to others outside of just the Palmetto State. So December of last year, we rebranded, relaunched to SEC Unfiltered, and long story short, man, it's been the best decision I ever made. Having a blast, again, interacting with different fan bases. You mentioned Omaha. It took me out to the College World Series, and we're actually going on a tour this fall, going to different games and campuses. So I'll get to experience a lot of firsts this season, including a trip to Death Valley, Baton Rouge, at some point. I'll let you know when we're in town. But, no, it's been a blast, man, really enjoying it. And having so many great successes so early on is truly a blessing. So.
You haven't mapped it out yet?
We have not mapped it out week to week, Matt, just because I want some flexibility just in case, right, we get to week 6 or 7 and we've committed to a game that maybe doesn't look so great. But I will tell you, Matt, her sources, and the source is me, the game that I'm targeting for LSU is that night game, LSU Ole Miss. That's the one I've got circled right now. It's not 100% officially official, but that's the one that I feel like is going to be the must-go-to for me.
If you can't go wrong with the Bama game in Tiger Stadium, but if LSU cooperates and gets to that Ole Miss game undefeated, that's going to be a college game day night, massive atmosphere, one of those like fever pitch type moments. What was your what's your 10,000 foot view of Ole Miss this season?
I'm a believer in Ole Miss, Matt. We're actually dropping game-by-game predictions over the next week and a half, 2 weeks or so, at least my personal game-by-game predictions. And to play spoiler, I've got LSU winning that game against Ole Miss.
Okay.
I just think you looked at the schedule, and listen, I went back and forth on a couple, but that was one. I looked at LSU's schedule, and I'm like, night game at Death Valley. That's going to mean something at some point. And Ole Miss, unfortunately, drew that short straw of having to go in there. The revenge factor, that's another reason I want to get there, Matt, is like we love that about college football, man. Like the year-to-year carryover and things get really personal. We've seen Lane Kiffin kind of taking the shots and rubbing the nose in it a little bit. I think Death Valley is going to be absolutely shaking. But back to Ole Miss. I'm a believer in them. I think they're going to be a double-digit win team. I mean, again, I just don't think anybody in the SEC is going to go through this thing unscathed, and so I think dropping a game at Tiger Stadium could very well happen, and again, I think it will, but they're loaded across the board, man. I mean, offensively, defensively, and you look at the schedule. I mean, my God, Matt, they practically play a preseason, right? I mean, the first 6 games or so for them, they're going to be double-digit favorites at minimum, so I am a believer in Ole Miss. Don't think they'll go unscathed, but I think they'll be in the playoff.
Hey, what do you think the media got right, and what do you think the media got wrong with the order of finish and everything, and the all maybe not necessarily the all-conference teams, but definitely the order of finish last week?
Yeah, the order of finish. I didn't take too much of I didn't have much of a gripe with it. I thought Alabama 3rd, Ole Miss 4th was very interesting. I think there's still a level of respect for Alabama, even with the coaching changes, and maybe some that don't believe in Ole Miss, the fact that they can go win a big game, right? I mean, we've seen Lane Kiffin and company get close, but stub their toe in the big moments. I look near the bottom of the conference as well. I think where Texas A&M, where Auburn are, I'm a little bit higher on Auburn. I'm higher on Kentucky, definitely. I was surprised when I went through it how much higher on Kentucky I was than I expected. I've got Kentucky as 8-4. I mean, I think they're going to be pretty good. I like the roster. I like what they added with Brock Vandagriff at quarterback. I think defensively, they've got one of the best defenses they've had in a couple of years there under Brad White. So, and an all-conference team, and Matt, listen, it's a crapshoot. I mean, there's a couple of guys that, there's so many different guys, so many different moving pieces there that it's really tough to say. There wasn't one snub that really jumped out to me, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, in regards to, I was surprised to see Bama in the 3 spot, Ole Miss in the 4. But again, I can see where they're coming from. There's still a lot to prove going into this year.
Yeah. By the way, I filled out my all-conference team at the gate, waiting to get on the flight back home, and didn't look at a single piece of research. So any fan that gets super emotional about a preseason all-conference team, please don't. It's just not worth. It's just not worth getting emotional about. Chris Phillips is with us, SEC Unfiltered, on Twitter at CPhilly19. I was looking at your game-by-game predictions, and you put out Alabama at 10-2. You do have Alabama winning in Baton Rouge. I am not high on Alabama. I have them losing minimum 3 games this year. Why am I wrong?
I mean, Matt, you're not high on Alabama. That is the least breaking news of news could ever be breaking. I mean, I was actually laughing when I met you. All I could think of was your face and flames coming up behind it of you manically laughing about the demise of the dynasty that is, or lack thereof, that is Alabama. All I could hear was you saying good. They flipped a 3-star quarterback from SMU. That's all I could think of. Literally.
And then he got the Bama bump, Chris. He got the freaking Bama bump. He goes and wins the Pajama Olympics. Make him a 5-star. Whatever. He'll be gone in a year.
I couldn't help but think about that. Listen, I just still think Bama's got a lot of talent. I think it's I will say it's one of those things. I put my hand on the burner last year and got burned when I picked Bama to go 9-3, and I know that was with Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of change. There's a lot of moving pieces. To your point, I knew I was going to catch some grief about the Bama LSU prediction. Bama's just had a lot of success there, man, for whatever reason. I know the last time they went there, they lost. I get it. The 2-point conversion, certainly it's a winnable game for LSU, but I can't just sit there and look at that one and say, it's in Death Valley, I'm going to give LSU the nod. I think there's other factors there. You look at the blue chip ratio and where Bama's roster is, it's still one of the best in the country. I'm a believer in Jalen Milroe taking a step forward and Kalen DeBoer's offense. The offensive line can't be as bad as it was. They've still got playmakers on the offensive side. Granted, there's some that are unproven. I think the running game will be better. And then defensively, I think they've still got dudes at all three levels. Again, a lot of moving pieces in the secondary, which is my big question. But especially that game against LSU late in the season, I think DeBoer will have it rolling by the man. I've got them starting 5-2, Matt. I just think they pick it up and they kind of figure some things out later in the year. But could they go 9-3? I mean, could they go 8-4? Certainly, but it's kind of one of those things, honestly, Matt. I got to see it with Bama, man. It's been too long. It's too foreign for me to think about the Crimson Tide potentially at 7-5 or 8-4.
That's the problem. Is everyone's still looking at the logo, but the key factor is Nick Saban's not there anymore, man. And we're all going to see that inevitable regression. And I would be so ecstatic if they go to Madison, Wisconsin in week 2 and lose to Luke Fickell and the Badgers. Now I don't think that's going to happen.
Game.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I would be ecstatic.
I picked that as a win, but I think that's going to be a very tricky game. I do. I could see that being a one-score game coming down to the wire. Even if that's what it is and they win, you'll have a really fun show that Monday.
I was just about to say,
yeah,
if you thought what I've done already is something, let Alabama lose to Wisconsin and Madtown in week 2. And, I mean, you will hear me from South Carolina, brother. You will hear me from there.
I mean, Matt, listen, do you ever think Alex Golish goes out at American Conference Media Days today and says, he's asked about playing Bama, playing Miami. He says, no, they have to play South Florida. Alabama has to play South Florida. And I'm thinking, would he have ever said that if Nick Saban was the head coach?
Right.
So, to your point, they're looking a lot more mortal these days.
All right, Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. Make sure you follow at SEC Unfiltered. He's at CPhilly19. Final thought, Brian Kelly and the Tigers, year 3. I mean, everybody says the same thing, right? Well, the offense is going to regress. The defense has got to be better because it can't be worse. But where do they fall somewhere in that middle ground? What's your take on the Tigers?
Matt, I hate how many teams I've got in this range, but I've got LSU at 10-2 also. And again, the game-by-game predictions will drop. I think later this week we'll get to LSU. We're splitting them up 8-8 this week next. Either way, though, I mean, listen, I think – and because I felt the same way, man. I'm like, listen, they can't be better offensively. We know that.
Right.
They can't be as bad defensively. So when you put it all together and you stir it all in, what does it mean? First thing they got to do, Matt, they got to beat Southern Cal week 1. I mean – the thing with the season openers, I get they played a couple pretty good Florida State teams, but all that aside, I know LSU folks, it's kind of this maddening thing going on. Like, why can't we get off to better starts? There's no excuse. You've got to beat Southern Cal in week 1. Again, I've got them beating Ole Miss in Desert. I've got LSU getting off to a, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8-0 start, losing to Bama, and then I've got an upset in there that I won't reveal. But may or may not be the Gators, but either way, I think LSU. I mean, listen, you got to try to go out on a limb every now and then.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, listen, I think LSU is going to be really good. I do have questions about Garrett Nussmeier and his overall consistency, but I mean, he's surrounded by incredible talent. They're not going to have 2 first-rounders at wide receiver, but they're going to be very talented at wide receiver. I'm a big believer in C.J. Daniels, the Liberty transfer. I think he's going to be a star. Everybody's giving Deion Burks that love, and I am as well, and I know he comes from C.J. Daniels' lower level, but I mean, I think he's going to be right up there at the top with some of the top new guys we're talking about. And then defensively, they got to stay healthy, Matt. Big thing. They got to stay healthy in the interior, the front 7 especially. But Harold Perkins Jr., his game is going to go back to the All-American level that we saw. Blake Baker, immediately from a scheme standpoint, from a culture standpoint, they're going to be immensely improved, and there's still talent down there in Baton Rouge. just got to stay healthy. They do that, I think LSU gets the double-digit wins.
Okay, I said that was the last one, but I'm interested now. So you have, I'm guessing you have Georgia and Texas as playoff teams because everybody does, right? Okay, so then you have Ole Miss, Bama, LSU all at 10 wins. How many playoff teams do you think the SEC gets?
So that's a really good question, Matt. And I don't think everybody that wins 10 games is going to get in because I've got Tennessee. I'm looking at Missouri potentially as well. Like, I think we're going to run into a situation, and I've had this conversation with a couple. And listen, I'm like many other people. I hate my picks. I hate my picks. I went through them, and I'm like, why? It just the way it was working out of my brain. I'm like, my brain's not braining correctly. This is going to be terrible. Somebody's going to get left out, though. Like, I think the SEC could get 5 in. I really do.
Oh, man.
They're not getting more than 5 in. I think the Big Ten probably gets 4 in. ACC, Big 12, Group of 5. Notre Dame's going to be kind of a wild card. You know, if you're an SEC fan, you want A&M to beat them from the standpoint of they could knock an SEC team out when it comes to a bid. So, listen, somebody's going to be on the outside looking in. I mean, listen, if LSU goes 10-2, Ole Miss goes 10-2, and LSU beats Ole Miss, I mean, odd man out, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like with that schedule, Ole Miss might have to go 11-1. That's where things get really tricky.
We will only know when we actually see what the committee does with the 12-team playoff.
Right.
But it's fascinating to get everybody's opinion on it. All right, follow him. He's at CPhilly19 at SEC Unfiltered. He's Chris Phillips. Thanks, man. It was fun.
Matt, you're the man. Keep up the great work.
All right, we'll talk soon. It's After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Actually, I tell you all the time about Dr. Blake Williamson going all over the country and all over the world, lecturing at different ophthalmology conferences. Literally after the show yesterday, I'm scrolling, I think it was Facebook maybe, and there was Dr. Blake Williamson announcing he's going to be speaking at a conference this fall in New York City, there at the Times Square Sheraton. Anyway, the bottom line is, for 75 years, the Williamson Eye Center, for longer than that now, has been a leader in eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery in our community. So if you need to get that eye exam, the Williamson Eye Center. If you wear contacts or glasses, they can sell you contacts and glasses. And if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Okay, y'all, let me knock out a quick break. Hey, I want to react, actually, to what Chris had to say about the whole 10-2 and how many teams make the playoffs, because I don't think a lot of people have actually conceptualized how uncommon it is to have that many teams get to 10-2. That's why I consistently say the SEC, I think, every year is going to have 3, and the outlier year will be 4. I think it's a cold day in hell before the committee puts 5 SEC teams in the field. But we'll all learn this together. I'll illustrate what I mean a little bit more when we come back. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Hey, remember, Rouse's has curbside pickup. I want to remind you about that all the time because it's such a great feature that in a service that they offer. Download the Rouse's app, select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up into one of the designated spots, boom, they bring your items out to your car. You don't even have to get out. It's that easy. So if you're on a quick timetable and you need a quick turnaround, Rouse's helps make it easy. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Make sure to download the Rouse's app as well. And always get to Rouse's and hit that weekly ad tab either on the homepage of the website or on the app. And it tells you all of that week's specials, all of the sales that are going on right then at Rouse's. So make sure you do that. If you're buying on a budget and you want to save, Rouse's can help you do it. It's Rouse's with 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. and we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding.
Cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes light up. She thinks my tractor sexy.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Man, rice and corn harvest about to kick off in southwest Louisiana. Of course, good luck to all the farmers with this harvest season coming on from our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Got some great NIL stuff coming, too. If you haven't paid attention to Sunshine social media, you should. Grace Vest, my friend over at Sunshine, who's their marketing director, they went on a little bit of a spoiler. They recently did a shoot out in the wild with Will Campbell, and it's going to be really, really good whenever that's unveiled. Hey, thanks to Chris Phillips for joining us there from SEC Unfiltered. Really good dude. It's one of my favorite things about going to media days from a networking perspective is so often we go there, we meet people, and you build these great professional relationships, sometimes personal relationships, and they become great contributors on the show, like our guy J-Boy, Jake Crane. I mean, we met Jake and Blaine and Cone and those guys 3 years ago at SEC Media Days, and we've all become really great friends. So I got to meet Chris for the first time. Thanks for being here. And so his perspective is he thinks the SEC gets 4 in the playoff, maybe 5. And that was the thing I kept asking people throughout media days all last week was, how many do you think get in? And it's just, and nobody's right or wrong. It's just, what's your opinion on it right now? And it was just sort of a very inexact, non-scientific sample to see what people think. Well, here's the point that I continue to make. Remember, if like Chris said, so he's got Georgia, Texas, then he had Ole Miss, LSU, Bama, all at 10 wins. Maybe even Missouri, Tennessee bumping in there as well. First of all, I don't think we understand how uncommon it is for that many schools to get to 10 wins in the regular season in the SEC. And then you're adding Texas and Oklahoma. So you're adding even more parity and top-heavy teams in the league. So just for example, a year ago, if you look at, really it's got to be the top 11, right? Because you have one spot for a G5. The highest ranked G5 team would be in. So it's 11 spots, really. And I know there's caveats because you have auto bids and everything, but just play the game with me. So last year, Bama was 4, Georgia was 6. And by the way, these are in the penultimate rankings. So these not after the championship, but the final rankings that were determining the playoff, right? Bama was 4, Georgia was 6, Missouri was 8, Ole Miss was 11. So SEC last year would have had 4, okay? Would have had 4 in a 12-team playoff. But go back a year prior in 2022. In 2022, those rankings that set up the playoff. Georgia was 1, Bama was 5, Tennessee was 6. The next highest ranked SEC team was LSU at 17. So you would have 3, right? Kind of see the point? In 2021, so let's keep going. In 2021, if you go to those penultimate rankings in 2021, Bama was number 1, Georgia was number 3, Ole Miss was number 8. The next time you see an SEC team was Arkansas at 21. The league would have had 3 teams, and not even close. 3 teams in 2021. You go back to the COVID year, obviously a giant asterisk with the COVID year because of the way that all played out. But if you just play that out, Bama was 1, A&M was 5, Florida was 7, Georgia was 8. So you would have had 4 that year as well in the COVID year. Go back to LSU's year in 2019. Of course, LSU was the number 1 team. Georgia was 5. Florida was 9. Now you had Auburn at 12, Bama at 13, but remember, you have to have a spot for an at-large, so they would have been bumped out. The SEC would have had 3 in 2019 as well. So, I mean, you understand my point? Like, I'm just illustrating this idea, like, that the league is going to get 5 in. I mean, even just using the rankings the committee has used here of late shows you how much of an outlier it is to get 4. How are you going to get to 5? When you have a G5 auto bid for the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, that's 5 spots, so you'll have 7 at large. I mean, I don't know that I see 4 of the 7 at large bids going to one league. I mean, we saw it last year with Georgia. I mean, Georgia was one of the 4 best teams in college football. That's not even debatable. They were the best team in the country all year. They stubbed their toe against Bama in the SEC championship game, and that gave the committee an excuse to bump them out. So it's going to play out. We'll see how it is. But just using these rankings, like, I don't see the path for the SEC to consistently get 5 teams in. It sounds like, oh, yeah, of course the SEC will have 5 in the top 12. But look at the rankings. Look at recent history. It doesn't happen that way. So I really think you're going to get 3, and in the stretch year, you're going to get 4. But more commonly, it's going to be 3 every year. 2018, Bama, Georgia, Florida was 10, LSU was 11. So right there on the fringe there in 18, when LSU got the Fiesta Bowl bid as a 9-3 team, by the way. How often are you going to be right there on the fringe of the playoff at 9-3? Never. Except, I mean, it's the rare one-off. So, I mean, 2017. We keep going. I can do this all day. Georgia was 3, Bama was 4, Auburn was 7. The next highest ranked SEC team was LSU at 17. You would have had 3 in 2017. So you're going to get 3. History shows you the stretch would be 4. There's just never an example where they get 5. Not in recent history anyway. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. They do it all over at Relief Windows. They do it better than anyone. Y'all, when the temps get high like this, and I know right now it's raining, and so the temps drop when it rains a little bit, but you know what I mean. Triple-digit temps every day. Your AC is working overtime to pump that cool air. You don't want to cause your AC to work even harder by having costly air leaks. If you have leaky windows, that cool air is getting out, the warm air is getting in, it's making your AC work harder, it's jacking up your energy bills. Make your home more energy efficient. Invest in your home with energy efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. It's going to lower your energy bills in time. It'll pay for itself. And remember, increase your home's resale value and a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. Ask any other company. Hey, you offer a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage? Huh. Maybe some manufacturer warranty. Certainly not on labor. That's only going to be Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. ReliefWindows.com. Man, I wanted to do this in this segment. I don't know that I have time, but I wanted to follow up on the Chris Phillips conversation there. The NFL and the PA are having, as it was termed, quote, very high-level discussions about an 18-game regular season. I don't have time to delve into this too deeply. Let me do this so I stay on time. Let's grab our break. Now, and by the way, Rob Neely said you have to add Texas and Oklahoma to your qualifiers. No, I don't have to add Texas and Oklahoma to the qualifiers, Rob, because in the past, like last year, Texas and Oklahoma were playing in the Big 12. I think you and I can decidedly agree that Texas and Oklahoma playing an SEC schedule is decidedly different than Texas and Oklahoma playing a Big 12 schedule. For example, Oklahoma this year is projected over under 7.5 wins. We all consensus agree that Oklahoma is probably a better team than 7.5 wins, but against the schedule they play, they're probably a 7 or 8 win team. If Oklahoma's in the Big 12, they're running through Kansas State and Kansas and Iowa State and all the Baylor, all the teams that are terrible. You don't have that in the SEC. You don't, even the quote-unquote breather schedules, the easier schedules in the conference, there's still landmines all over. So no, I am not conceding Texas and Oklahoma have, because they would have been in the playoffs in those years, that they have to be in the SEC, that they would have to be in these years. Now, I won't concede that because it's going to be different because they're going to be in the league, and you're guaranteeing 8 more losses for 2, or I guess you're guaranteeing 16 more losses in the conference, be it Oklahoma or Texas or whoever they play. That's 16 more league games where you're going to have 16 more losses in the league. So if anything, I would say it's even harder to do that because you're introducing even more losses and more parity into the conference. So I'd completely disagree with you on that. All right, let me knock out a break. We'll come back. I do want to talk about the PA looking at an 18-game schedule, and we got to do Tigers and the Pros. A ton to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, actionindinc.com. Action Industries Incorporated since 1982, literally as long as I've been alive. That's as long as Action Industries has been in business. And one of the reasons they've thrived is because they really know who they are. I mean, there are mega contractors, these mega industrial contractors that do great work. And they do these $200 million jobs. That's not Action Industries. They don't want to be that. They know what they are. Sometimes ask yourself this. You're a maintenance manager, turnaround a coordinator, project manager, and you've hired one of those companies for your 100-person job, and you feel like, man, we haven't gotten their undivided attention because we're not a big fish. At Action Industries, their sweet spot is that 100-person job, and you become their number one priority. You get all of their best people. It's Action Industries. Check them out online. Geismar and Belrose, 2 locations. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Greg Auman, who covers the NFC South for Fox Sports. He's here in 12 minutes from right now. Right now, Musso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Well, it's that day again.
What day?
Paul Skeens Shove Day.
Oh, heard about that.
Paul's on the bump tonight versus the St. Louis Cardinals. Home game for the Buccos. 6-0. Paul Skeens, a 1.90 ERA. First time we'll see him since starting the All-Star game a couple weeks ago.
I'll see him next Monday in Houston.
Yeah, a little Skeens-Bregman action there.
Ready for it.
I hope Bregman's ready for it. That's going to be rough.
Are you ready for it?
There we go.
That's a Taylor Swift song.
Is it? Okay.
My wife's a Swiftie.
Yeah, I've heard.
I literally had to tell her this weekend, can we listen to anything other than like every time we get in the car, she puts her Taylor Swift playlist. I'm like you're making me hate it now. Like anything else.
Playing it out.
Just this once. Like anything else.
Couple of training camp updates to get for you here. The Chiefs have activated Clyde. Clyde was on the non-football non-football illness list Saturday before their first practice, but is now off of that. They re-signed him in this offseason, so look forward to more here for CEH. He's back. The illness is A-okay.
Let's go, Clydro. Big year ahead.
Odell not as lucky. Odell will start the training camp slate with the Dolphins on PUP. Unfortunately, that report comes from Tom Pelissero from NFL Media. Beckham's injury not disclosed yet, but it looks like the absence will be extended. Pelissero's report notes that Beckham is working on, quote, minor things.
You're working on minor
1-year
things.
deal signed in May for Beckham with the Dolphins. That's Tigers and Pros.
Presented by Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com, Michele.com. You weigh or measure something, Michele sells, services, rents the products you use to weigh and measure. Obviously, today we're brought to you by Sunshine. I was just talking a bit ago about how the farmers in southwest Louisiana are getting ready for harvest. Obviously, all those farmers have gigantic scales. They have to weigh their crop, and you can understand why it's very important that those scales are calibrated correctly, because if you're off even like a half a pound, a fraction, with the amount of scale, the volume that they do, naturally that could add up. They could be very costly. So you want precision measurement equipment calibrated. You want Michele Weighing and Measurement. They're just the best. Don't send your equipment off to Chicago, some foreign land. Trust the local company, Michele Weighing and Measurement. That also happens to be our nation's largest distributor of scales. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com, Michele.com. Adam Schefter was on the McAfee Show and disclosed there's really some momentum toward an 18-game NFL schedule. Give it a listen.
If we go back to when the conversation of more games, more than a 16-game season started, it felt like the NFL started out of the block with 18 games. And it felt like that was roundly dismissed. And so the league, I think, did a pretty smart thing. It went from 18 to 17. And rather than take one big giant step, they said, let's take little steps and we'll get to where we're going over time, but it's not going to be as quickly as we'd like it to be. To me, it just seems like there is a momentum to this. There's a trackiness. I don't think it's real right now, but it's only a matter of time before it does get real and we get to that point. And again, when you get back to the 18 games, in my mind, it's going to be about money. It's always going to be about the money. You're going to have to dangle enough to the players to make it worth their while, as distasteful as it is to play 18 games.
This is inevitable. The same way it was inevitable they were going to 17, it's inevitable they're going to 18. And by the way, prepare yourself. It's inevitable that they're going to 20. They're going to get rid of the preseason altogether and turn those into regular season dates. Every business, y'all, every business wants to grow. They want to grow and want to scale. How do you grow revenue? Like, look physically where I am. Guarantee is a 98-year-old company that's done radio for a lot of years and made a massive capital investment into this video studio we're in to do state-of-the-art video because they recognized, hey, if we want to keep growing, we got to be active in the video space. Every business finds ways to grow revenue and to scale. Now, the NFL is doing it in the tens of billions of dollars. But yes, it's inevitable. To grow and to scale, they got to add more games, more TV, inventory, more ticket sales, more concessions, parking, merchandise, all of it. Yes, they're going to grow. They just got to share it with the players. And they will, and they'll get there. But it's inevitable. 17 was inevitable. 18 is inevitable. And so is 20. We're going to get there in the NFL. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Y'all, the South Point Summer Sales event is going on right now. 2024 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. 0.9% APR for 60 months. That's the car. That's the two cars in our garage. Erica drives an Atlas. I drive the Cross Sport. Had an Atlas. Took the Cross Sport, removes the third row, a little shorter, sleeker design. I love it. Find your perfect vehicle over at South Point Volkswagen. I mentioned this as well. The ID Buzz is coming. It's the electric Volkswagen bus, and South Point's only going to have 7 of them. You want to reserve yours? You can do it now at southpointvw.com. There's a Reserve Now tab when you go to the website. southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Jets defensive end Hassan Reddick did not report for the start of training camp today because he hasn't gotten the new contract he's been seeking. New York tried to sign him at the time of the trade from the Eagles. Is still open to that, but will not negotiate with a player not in camp. A few days after requesting a trade because of a contract dispute, 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk reported to camp. GM John Lynch told reporters they expect Ayuk to be an important part of the team, as he has been. ESPN's Ryan Clark understands that philosophy.
We're looking at a team that feels like they have everything they need to compete again for a championship in 2024. So why would they trade for future assets? Why would they trade for a piece that may not do, or pieces that may not do for this team what Brandon Ayuk does? And so that's going to be the position here of the 49ers.
Ryan Clark on Carlin versus Joe. Lynch said the Niners will continue contract talks with Ayuk. Rams quarterback Matt Stafford reporting to camp after he and the team worked out a contract adjustment. Patriots QB Jacoby Brissett enters camp as New England's starter.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And a Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Saints open up camp tomorrow out in Irvine, California. It is that time, y'all. Good chance to check in with our buddy Greg Auman from Fox Sports, who covers the NFC South. Wanted to get a thumbnail of each of the 4 NFC South teams here as they push off from the dock. Greg, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are too.
Doing great, man. Let's start with the defending champs, man, and probably the Bucs got it done last year with Baker Mayfield. What is the biggest storyline in Tampa going into this year's camp?
I would think it's just them bringing everybody back. I mean, getting Baker back, getting Mike Evans back, getting Levante David back, Antoine Winfield. It's just the whole core, from this, 3-4 year run, and obviously last year for Baker. The new faces, I think there's a couple new faces, not a ton. I mean, their first-round draft pick's a center. I think they're excited about potentially upgrading the line there. But for the most part, it's bringing the gang back and having a first-place schedule and some nasty teams they've got to face to try and do it again.
What is the key to Tampa scaling that mountain again in this division, which looks like it's probably going to be lowly again?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be like a 13-win team in the South this year. But for me, the major hurdle, I think, is they lost 3 key leaders from their Super Bowl team from the last 4 playoff years in Carlton Davis, in Devin White, and in Shaq Barrett. 3 kind of different circumstances, but all of them, real mainstays on the defensive side. And they've got to replace them with, much younger guys. Zion McCollum is a corner they're going to lean on instead of Davis. KJ Britt's probably the guy that steps in for Devin White. And then at outside linebacker, just a couple different guys that'll fill in. But their second-round pick, Chris Braswell, will probably be the guy there. So I think, they got a lot younger on offense last year, kind of in the post-Brady churn, but now they'll do it on defense. So can they still be a top 10 caliber defense, create turnovers, control games with their defense when they're, less experienced and less certain on that side of the ball.
Let me get my obligatory Falcons quarterback question in. What are you expecting to see there with Cousins and Penix throughout the camp in this preseason?
It's one of those where there's the everything goes the way you would want to model, and it's like Cousins, eases his way in. He's able to play some of the preseason as your week 1 starter, and goes from there. But there's definitely also the wait a minute, what if he can't play right away, or if they come out of the gates and don't play well? There's lots of things where, again, instead of him having the confidence of a guy with $100 million guaranteed, who's led teams to the playoffs, who could be the missing piece for Atlanta, he kind of has to also look in his rearview mirror and worry that if he throws 2 picks in the opener, there's going to be some people that kind of want to see what Michael Penix can do. I think this is his team. I think he'll work very hard to have control and leadership of this locker room. But I just worry that if things don't go well initially, there'll be a temptation to see what else is there.
Of course, Raheem Morris, the new head coach there in Atlanta as well. Everyone's going to talk about the quarterbacks, Greg. What's the storyline in Atlanta that won't be talked about as much that we should be paying more attention to?
I think, a young, new offensive coordinator, to bring Zach Robinson over from Los Angeles and trust him to kind of take the reins there. I don't think many people thought that they got full use out of the offensive talent they had last year, in 3 top 10 picks in Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts at tight end and Drake London at receiver. So I think there'll definitely be some intrigue to see. Again, it's hard with any first-time coordinator, first-time play caller, guy kind of out on his own, calling his own offense for the first time. But I think there'll definitely be some intrigue to see if they can do more with those pieces to make this more of a 30 touchdown pass offense in the pass game as opposed to kind of the 15 to 20 type offense it's been the last few years.
Greg Auman with Fox Sports covers the NFC South. Get him on Twitter or X at Greg Auman, AUMAN. Bring it to the hometown team here with the New Orleans Saints. Greg, this is an old roster. They missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. There's a lot of fatigue around Derek Carr and Dennis Allen and just everything that's gone on here. Give me a reason for optimism around the Saints.
They were right there. You look back at last year, they finished with the same record as the Bucs, and that's with Carr kind of playing through injuries, with them being shorthanded at times. Certainly, games they'd like to get back. But I think, again, for the same reason you should be confident in the Bucs, it's not a great division. If you can get to 10 wins, and they'll do it, the Saints will do it with an easier schedule than the Bucs. It's still tough. I think they still have like Cincinnati and a couple of their second-place teams are tough. But, if you think about how they finished last year, and if they can take the Falcons the way they did in that game and sweep those two, and if you sweep the Falcons and the Panthers and you split with the Bucs, you're 5-1 in the division right now, and I think that definitely puts it there. But again, it's one of those where, defensively, that they need DeMario Davis and honestly, they need Cam Jordan to get back to being Cam Jordan. But they need those guys to not age, to not look their age, to continue to be kind of, timeless the way they've been. And that's hard because they're not the only old guys on this defense. They need Matthew. They need, other guys to step up the same way. I think, up front, Chase Young has to get an impact. He can't just be injured because there's not a whole lot else there in terms of creating sacks and getting them back up to that 45, 50 sack level they were at before. So many of these high draft picks that haven't necessarily panned out, and guys like Peyton Turner and stuff like that. Offensive line is a huge question mark. To trust not only a rookie at left tackle, but Penning with a very limited amount of experience at right tackle. They'll be younger, they'll be less experience on the offensive line, but they could definitely be better there and need to if they're going to be a good team.
You agree this? I think most people here, Greg, assume because Dennis Allen is a good defensive coach, like they'll be fine on defense. I think maybe even good on defense, but there are just so many questions on offense that don't know how they get all that sorted out to be competent, if not good.
Right. I mean, I think there's definitely some question spots where you just don't know how things are going to shake out. I didn't love what we saw from Al Wiz last year in terms of a coordinator and leading a defense, but the second corner has to kind of solve itself. Nickel has to solve itself. There's definitely positions on that defense that are question marks, But I think this is an offense that can. I mean, it might be that you're winning more games, 27-24, in the model of things. But I think they can do that. I mean, there were times where, the Saints. I forget who I was talking to the other day, doing radio with somebody, but the Saints finished in the top 10 in the NFL in points allowed and points scored. And only 5 teams in the league did that. And the other 4 all won division titles last year. So you have the makings and the balance of what should be a winning program. They just didn't necessarily get it done enough to pull off a division title here a year ago.
Greg Auman, before we let you go, I guess we obligatory have to talk about Carolina as well. They were the worst team in football a year ago. I don't know that Bryce Young could be worse. Why might they be better in Charlotte this year?
I think they've surrounded him by a much better cast of characters. I think last year, as much as he struggled, as much as he had 11 total touchdowns in an entire season, that line was porous. They had easily the worst downfield passing threats of any team in the NFL. So to put $150 million into 2 solid guards, I think helps the front of his pocket and gives him a little bit more time to let things progress. Deontay Johnson is a high-volume pass catcher, can be a 100-catch guy for them. We don't know who Xavier Legette is yet, but this was a really good class of receivers, and he can be a guy that can be a 6'8" touchdown rookie and be a solid number 2 that's eventually a number 1. They've got some young talent. They put a second-round pick into the first back off the board. They took a tight end high. So I think they've done a good job of surrounding Bryce with young, upside talent. Dave Canales, is a guy who's done well the last 2 seasons, bringing guys back and getting them to where they can be. Did that with Geno Smith in Seattle. Did that with Baker Mayfield in Tampa. Baker's only had 1 year. Not Baker, sorry. Bryce has only had 1 year. And I just think the hope is that he can get enough of a step forward, first of all, to save his own job, just because we don't want to take anything for granted with the Panthers that he's back for 25, but also to make sure they don't feel like they have to reset a quarterback, because now, the leash is so short in the NFL that if you don't see Bryce get to 20 touchdowns and 4 or 5 wins and those modest minimum steps forward, there's definitely going to be people wondering if, now that they have a high draft pick this time around, that they should use one and then reset and try with another quarterback. So that's the big thing is, can you move forward with the current coach-quarterback combination and make people confident that they can win together in 2025?
Hey, Greg, I know there's only 32 head coaching jobs in the NFL, man, but if Tepper blows out Canales after 1 year, I don't know who would want that job, man. You're setting yourself for failure.
Right. There's the part of me that's well, it's kind of cool to get paid for 5 or 6 years, only have to work 1. But from a reputation standpoint, from an experience standpoint, that's not an alley you want to go into if you know what happened to the last 3 guys that went down that alley. I think it would really, really be hard for them to hire anybody that has aspirations of or expectations of a better job.
Yeah.
You're going to get the last guy available. And again, Canales might have been close to that this year, but yeah, I would be really surprised, unless it's an 0-17 type thing, and I really don't expect that, if they made a change again this season in Carolina.
He's Greg Auman, Fox Sports NFC South reporter. We appreciate it, Greg, man. Thanks so much for the time, as always.
All right, you guys take care. Have a good one.
All right, be well. It's after further review. By the way, Supper Club back open, y'all. Open Tuesday, Saturday. So they're open right now. If you're knocking off of work, pop in. Moscona, don't have a reservation. Doesn't matter. Open seating at the bar. You could pop in, have a cocktail, a glass of wine. Do it right now. Just if you've never been inside of Supper Club, go right now. Moscona, don't have a jacket. You don't need one. Collared shirt, jeans, or slacks is the stated dress code. People say, oh, they changed that? No, that's always been the stated dress code. Of course, look, it's encouraged if you want to wear a sport coat, a jacket. You want to dress up? Absolutely do it. Go have the night of your life over at Supper Club, the best meal you'll ever eat. And I want to remind you, tomorrow, y'all, they're getting a new animal in from Sagrera Farms up in Ethel tomorrow. That's the farm where I told you where they get the entire animal. They butcher it in-house there at Supper Club. This isn't like, oh, you pick and choose. You want a T-bone, you want a ribeye, you want a flip. No. They buy the whole animal, butcher it in-house right there at Supper Club on Perkins Road. They're getting a new animal in on Wednesday, tomorrow. So maybe call ahead, see if you can get an early reservation. Sometimes it's easier to get in earlier, like right after work, go have dinner, experience Supper Club. Get your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. And remember, y'all, they're starting to book for holiday parties. It's not too early. I mean, it's almost August, and before you know, you're going to blink it, and it's going to be the holiday season. So if you're thinking about your holiday party for Christmas, around the holiday time, you can book at Supper Club now, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. God, can you imagine if, part of me thinks if Tepper blows out Canales in Carolina after 1 year, and there'd be 3 coaches in 3 years, yeah, it would be impossible to get anybody, but then I would also think, let's say you do take that job, and then you're going to interview for another job, and you hand someone your resume, they look, they're like, oh, man, 1 year? You were only a coach for 1 year? Oh, Carolina. Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, well, that's good. Just on to the next round. Just understand, man, you're working for Tepper. There's no patience there. So it's hard to imagine Carolina getting much better than they were a year ago. All right, it's after further review. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on this day. We got about 45 minutes left to go. The Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase made waves today in Cincinnati when they arrived for camp. We'll get to that. Some Saints news as well. I want to dive deep into the running back position. We talked about Alvin Kamara yesterday, but I want to spend some time here in about 15 minutes talking about Kendre Miller and some expectations I have for him. We'll get to all that. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Glow Resources. glowresources.com. Glow Resources specializes in skilled blue-collar workers and finding those perfect skilled blue-collar workers for your job. But at Glow Resources, they also have an incredible professional placement division. And it was so impressive going over to Glow Resources a few weeks ago and sitting down with the professional placement division team and talking to Casey about how they go through the whole process and how they're able to move quickly based on your timeline, how they dive into market analysis to find the exact market data that's going to find the person, the hard-to-fill role for your job. If you're stuck in the rut, on the hamster wheel, you need help hiring, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
Érase una vez un Infinity, diseñado para despertar tu imaginación y desafiarte a soñar, con 3 lujosas filas de asientos. El totalmente nuevo Infinity QX80 de 3 filas.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
I make a little room and she climbs on up. Open up a throttle and stir a little dust. Just look at her face, she ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Hit the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the mic icon to send us your thoughts in audio form. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review. Speak up, tell us your location, and be heard. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com.
You know, sometimes, especially in this job, you search for like the hard to find answer that isn't so obvious. Like something presents, the best this, the worst that. You're like, that's too easy of an answer. Let me think. It's almost like if you're going to eat in a different town, and so you just Google best restaurants, and I was in Dallas last week, best restaurants in Dallas. And then you think to yourself, do I really want to go there? Or do I want to talk to a local about, what's the best local spot that's off the beaten path? Like, you can do that, but sometimes the best restaurant is on the best restaurant list because it's the best restaurant. They're consistent. The food is delicious. The service is impeccable. The ambiance is fun and lively. Like, there's a reason a lot of people keep going back. If it stunk, people wouldn't keep going back. So sometimes we can overthink things. And a few weeks back, we were talking about impact transfers at LSU, like the guys that I think I'm most interested in seeing. And I said, look, the easy answer are guys like C.J. Daniels and Xavion Thomas, because those are accomplished guys on the offensive side that's exciting to see. Daniels is a 1,000-yard receiver and, is stepping into a position where you lost 2 first-round draft picks. You got Kyron Lacey and Chris Hilton back, but it's very likely those guys are going to play a big role, a big impactful role right away. And it was interesting because 24/7 Sports today put out their list of the top 50 transfers in the SEC. In college football this year. And number 45 on the list is C.J. Daniels from Liberty, one spot behind Riley Leonard, who's the transfer quarterback now at Notre Dame, going from Duke to Notre Dame. A few spots, by the way, ahead of Will Howard, who transferred from Kansas State to Ohio State. So it kind of goes to show you some perspective on how good they think Daniels will be. But that's only part of the story. If you remember, the guy I told you that I thought was actually the most impactful transfer for LSU this year that I was excited to see was Jordan Gilbert. Because when you look at Blake Baker's defense, the last 2 years at Missouri, the 2 leading tacklers, the top 2 tacklers, despite the fact that Blake Baker is a linebackers coach, the top 2 tacklers, each of his 2 years as a DC at Missouri, were defensive backs. So the point I made was Jordan Gilbert is actually the most important and impactful transfer that you have coming in because he's been a starter in the SEC. He's going to be a day 1 starter. He's a dramatic physical upgrade just on skill set from what you had a year ago in Andre Sam, who was undersized and just slow and, as a result, took bad angles and got beat a lot. Jordan Gilbert is just an immediate upgrade at a gigantic position of need because you were so bad in the secondary. Well, lo and behold, while, the 24/7 Sports rating the top 50 transfers, there were 2 LSU Tigers on it. C.J. Daniels at number 45 and Jordan Gilbert at number 27, the 27th most impactful transfer in college football this year. Safety Jordan Gilbert going from Texas A&M to LSU. Like sometimes you dig deep and you try to find the one-off, the crazy thing, the angle that no one else is thinking, and sometimes the answer is obvious and easy because it's obvious and easy. And I think Jordan Gilbert is going to be massive for LSU's defense this year if they're going to be any better. For what it's worth, Caleb Downs, the safety going from Alabama to Ohio State, number 1 on the list. Caden Proctor, which I guess it counts as a transfer. He was at Alabama, transferred to Iowa just for spring, then went back to Alabama. So I guess that Alabama's best transfer is a guy that was already on the team. Walter Nolan, number 3. Isaiah Bond going from Alabama to Texas. So 2 of the top 4 leaving Alabama. It's another listen, I know we've had a lot of fun with the Bama's burning stuff all this offseason, but it continues to illustrate the exodus of talent from that program is sincere, and you take away the best coach of all time, and you have to play Georgia, at LSU, at Tennessee, Auburn. I just refuse to believe that there won't be some type of regression. There will be. I think Bama's a 9-3 team. You continue to see why over and over again. But Jordan Gilbert, C.J. Daniels, a couple of guys from LSU on that list from 24/7 Sports, the top 50 transfers in college football this year. All right, we're brought to you by Evermore. Always got my bottle of Evermore with me. I've changed that habit. Stopped drinking tap water completely. I drink Evermore. Evermore is in my fridge. I buy the big 64-ounce bottles to fill the coffee make. You know, I have a Keurig at the house when I drink black coffee. I fill it with Evermore. It's a healthier option. Natural artesian water, a Louisiana company. It's a natural artesian well in Covington, right there on the North Shore. It's bottled right there on the North Shore, and it's shipped all over the country. They got national distribution. They're like in 7-Elevens all over the country. Dak Prescott is one of their national endorsers. They did a deal with Olympic sand volleyball players, Cloth and Nuss, who are LSU alums who are going to represent the United States in Paris. So it's good enough for the starting quarterback of the Cowboys, Olympic athletes. It's good enough for you and me as well. You want a better form of hydration, a better, healthier option for your children, for your families. You want Evermore. You can buy online at evermore.com, evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com, or Evermore, available at great local retailers. Hey, you probably saw this. Joe Burrow showed up at Bengals camp today, and it's a little bit of a throwback. If you remember the old Slim Shady photos when Joe Burrow was at Athens High School in Athens, Ohio, with the blonde hair, you've no doubt seen those pictures throughout the years. Well, Burrow showed up today at Bengals training camp, and it was a bit of a throwback. The hair wasn't as long as it was when he was at Athens High, but he shaved his head and he dyed it blonde. I mean, it's a straight Slim Shady look. How do we feel about Joey B with the Slim Shady throwback?
I'm not going to lie, I kind of like it. I dig it.
Paul?
I like it. I think it looks good.
I think he pulls it off surprisingly well.
I know not everyone is going to agree with me on this, and I understand that, but I'm really pissed off at Joe Burrow. Shouldn't be, but I am. Love Joey B, and I understand that when you say a negative thing about Joey B in these parts, it's just a losing battle forever. But I don't care if you're Joe Burrow or you're Jesus Christ or anywhere in between. Some people think Joe Burrow probably is Jesus Christ. As someone who doesn't even have the option of dyeing my hair, when somebody who has a beautiful, flowing mane, the good Lord has reached down and touched you and blessed you with golden locks. I mean, Joe Burrow's hair is impeccable. Can we not agree on that?
That is very good.
A gorgeous flowing mane. Kibi's in here. Let's get a female perspective. Joe Burrow's hair. Can I get your perspective on Joe Burrow's hair?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good or like really good?
Really good.
It's really thick and flowy and beautiful. Like he can do so much with it.
Yeah.
Now look at me. Like I'd kill for the opportunity just to have the Slim Shady look. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think
I'm
you
not
can pull
done.
that
I'm
off.
not talking to you. I'm not done. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking about hair. It's very important. The blatant disrespect that Joe Burrow is showing his hair and laughing in the face of all of us who are follically challenged is insulting. You want to dye it blonde? Okay. Shaving it and dyeing it blonde is effectively just laughing in my face. And one day it's going to happen, Joe. One day it's going to happen, Joe. One day you're going to start losing those beautiful locks, those luscious locks. And you're going to look back and you're say, man, if I had just one more day with all of my beautiful hair. That's what he's going to think of. And he's going to regret the day that he did this to his hair. And everybody else, my follically challenged brethren, the bald-haired, bearded ones, you know we all look the same, right? That's what everybody says.
Is that what everyone says?
That's what everybody says.
Okay.
Guys with bald hair, oh, you look like someone I know. No, I'm just the guy bald with a beard. We all look the same. Everyone says we all look the same. Everyone who's in my boat would agree. Don't do it, Joe. Grow that hair. Respect your hair because you don't know when it's going to be gone. Just a life lesson. Joe's amazing. Still a young man. And lessons to learn. Like you don't do this to your hair. What?
I mean, I like it. I think he did. I mean, Jamar.
That's all you have to add?
Jamar
You're sitting there hanging over the mic like you have something to say, and all you have to say is, blah, 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 blah,
I wasn't finished.
Blah, 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 blah,
you didn't let me finish.
You have nothing to say, clearly.
Jamar buzzed his hair, too. He didn't dye it blonde, but he
Jamar
buzzed.
buzzing his hair is fine. He still has hair.
For the team.
It's fine. And stylistically, it's very different. I think we all understand. Like, a white guy's hair grows differently than a black man's hair.
Fair.
So you can buzz and wear a buzz cut, and you can do a fade. You can do a lot of really cool things stylistically with it that, like, I can't do even when I had hair. So I don't have a problem with Jamar cutting his hair short. That's fine. Joe is just laughing in our face.
I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's doing something for the team. I mean, multiple guys
What
are
is he
doing
doing
it.
for the team?
It's going to be a thing for them this year. Watch, more of them are going to show up with buzz cuts. It's going to be their like rallying, like the rally facial hair in baseball postseason. That's what they're doing. If it brings the Bengals and Joey B, let me rephrase that because I know how you're going to react. If it brings Joey B and Jamar a Super Bowl, okay.
He can kick rocks. You got to kick rocks, Joe. Can't do it. It's inexcusable. It's AFR. Go to break.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Might cause physical harm on somebody after this. They may need Gordon after that. I'm kidding. You should know I'm kidding. Hey, look, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Hey, look, check out the website. It's a great resource. You go to the website, you can scroll down, and you can see all the testimonials as well, client testimonials from car accidents or big truck wrecks or workers' comp, all the different types of law that Gordon and his team practice. So if you've been injured, you need representation. Don't go it alone. You can see all the different types of cases that they handle and how you can get in touch. Start online at getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or you can always call if you'd rather talk to someone. They have real live humans answering the phone in their offices all over the state of Louisiana. 888-8888. That's 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
The best.
We ride back and forth till we run out of light. Take it to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in the loft, sit and talk with the radio on.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Dupuy sent a text. Hair. Amen. I'm telling you, Muse.
Is Roy bald? I don't understand.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm telling you. All of us bald brethren.
There it is.
All of us. We will unite on this front. It doesn't mean we love Joey B any less. It's just like with your children. You don't stop loving your children, but sometimes your children do things that you look and you say, what are you doing? That's not acceptable. Go to your room. And you discipline them in hopes of them being better. That's how we feel here.
I don't think it was any personal attack on bald people from Joey B. I just think he wanted to dye his hair.
Just like when a child makes a mistake and does something, they have to be corrected. They have to be taught why it's wrong, why it's not acceptable. A lot of times they're not intending to hurt someone's feelings or do something wrong or cause harm, but then they learn the consequences of their actions and then have to be disciplined for those actions so they don't repeat them. Joey B needs to go to proverbial timeout. I'm not suggesting a grown man go sit in timeout. That's not what I'm saying, actually. But there has to be some type of consequence here. Telling you.
It'll grow out.
I know. Saints open up camp tomorrow. Alvin Kamara's there. That's good news. PFF today was looking at each of the 32 NFL teams for a potential sleeper type player. It's that type of content season. And they, of course, noted that the Saints' offensive line is the top priority, which it is. I mean, can we just start there and understand, like we've gone through my 5 biggest camp storylines, and mine is what everyone else's is at number 1. It's the Saints' offensive line. There just is no other challenger for the number 1 spot. Like, you're replacing 3 of your 5 starting offensive linemen. 2 of the guys vying for jobs are first-round picks. 1 could be a complete bust in Trevor Penning. Like, that is every conversation about the Saints starts there in camp. And they note that as well. But Clint Kubiak coming in as the OC and obviously taking over play calling duties, what may happen with Kendre Miller is fascinating to watch. And listen, I'm guilty of this as well. And I don't know if guilty is the right word to use. It's just we've talked about it from this standpoint. This offseason so much of the conversation when it comes to the skill guys with the Saints been about Michael Thomas's exit and then a possible sort of rebirth or reemergence for Alvin Kamara. And look, Kamara over the last 3 years has seen his production drop each of the last 3 years. Last season, Kamara had 180 rushing attempts. That was his fewest since 2019, his third year in the league. So what you're kind of hoping for, if you're the Saints, if you're Clint Kubiak, is to help Kamara get back to the level that that he was in that 17, 18, 19, those first 3 years of his career where he had this rapid ascent, where he had over 80 catches each of those years. It was one of the best offensive players in the NFL, was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. And it's similar to what we saw with Christian McCaffrey, right? That's the hope. McCaffrey was so explosive early in his career in Carolina. Injuries got him where he played in just 16 games, really 10 games over 2 seasons in 2020 and 2021, 3 in the COVID year, 7 in 2021. Then in 2022, he gets traded after 6 games to San Francisco. And then last year, he was awesome. Nearly 1,500 rushing yards. He sort of reestablished himself as a pass catcher with 67 receptions, the most he had had since 2019, over 500 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like, McCaffrey had this rebirth in Clint Kubiak's offense there in San Francisco. Now, it's also fair to say that was really Kyle Shanahan's offense, but can Kubiak carry it over to New Orleans? That's the hope. And so we talked about this from Kamara's perspective for so long, but maybe the answer isn't Alvin Kamara. Maybe the answer is Kendre Miller. I mean, you drafted Kendre Miller a year ago with eyes on him being the heir apparent to Alvin Kamara, right? I mean, isn't that why the Saints took Kendre Miller out of TCU? And Miller was a guy who was young. We talked about it when he was picked. Super explosive. A lot of tread left on the tire because he didn't have that many rushing attempts during his years at TCU. So you saw a young guy with a lot of tread on the tires who could be explosive in that offense the same way Kamara was explosive. And maybe that's the answer now. We keep waiting to see and hoping that Alvin Kamara sort of reverts to form. But maybe what we learned this year is that Kamara has declined, that there is no resurgence of his career coming. And it's time to move on to the next guy, and you drafted Kendre Miller to be that next guy. I mean, that was the inevitability associated with drafting Kendre Miller. And maybe that time is now. And so maybe that makes Alvin Kamara going into an offseason where he doesn't have guaranteed money in 2025, makes that decision easier to part ways with Alvin Kamara because you've got the guy there to replace him. Now, Kendre Miller has to stay healthy, and he's got to be a productive NFL back and prove he can be that. But if he can, then all of a sudden you've solved that question. Because remember, when you signed Jamal Williams, you signed him to a 2-year contract. So his contract's up after this season. Alvin Kamara has no guaranteed money in 2025, so you could part ways with Kamara after the season. And all of that stuff becomes way easier, way more palatable if Kendre Miller's good. So while we spent all this time talking about Alvin Kamara, maybe the real question is whether or not Kendre Miller is ready to emerge and be the Saints version of Christian McCaffrey or the new Alvin Kamara in this Clint Kubiak offense. Maybe not enough time talking about the 22-year-old who missed a chunk of last season with, he had knee issues, he had ankle issues, only played 112 offensive snaps. Kendre Miller is certainly one of those guys worth keeping an eye on here through camp and the early part of this season. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. That's me, that's Terrio, that's Richard Tilley, that's Joe Morales, that's Trent Davis, that's our whole team. And tell you every day to do business with someone you know. Look, you can always reach out to me directly. You text me on my show text line. People do it all the time. 225-396-4400, 396-4400. You want me to help facilitate your roof repair, your roof replacement? I can help with you. Just text me. I'm happy to help. ParrishBuilt.com. Hey, storm season's coming. Storm season is here, as a matter of fact. We'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. And remember also, we rolled this out last week. It's our new maintenance program. So go to the website, ParrishBuilt.com, scroll down a smidge. You'll see the little button right there where it says Residential Roofing Maintenance Program. It's $25 a month, $24.99. It's $25 a month. and it gets you a comprehensive roof inspection twice a year, which obviously with all that photo documentation is going to help with your insurance company when it comes time to file a claim. We'll handle minor roof repairs, high-performance roofing sealant, debris removal, emergency priority response, 10% discount on all roofing services. It's worth it, y'all. It's worth it, if nothing else, just for the 2 inspections a year that come with the drone technology, the photo documentation, and the roofing sealant. Give us a shout. You can always give us a shout, 364-1007, 364-1007, or you can go to the homepage at parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com. Right there on the homepage, you'll see the form. Take 30 seconds, fill out that form. Boom, we'll be in touch. Schedule that inspection, help you out with the residential roof program, whatever you need. It's Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all. Been a really good show. We appreciate you for being here. If you missed Shea Dixon in hour number 1, you can catch that on demand. Our buddy Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered was here in hour 2. Greg Auman earlier this hour, Fox Sports reporter who covers the NFC South, gave us the camp storylines to look for each of the 4 teams in the NFC South. We'll check it out. Oh, look at my guy Chuck Bro, who just tweeted this picture. He photoshopped Joe Burrow's hair on my head. I mean, like, I'm not telling you, but so he said, man, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Here's what he's missing. If I had that hair, I wouldn't have the beard. So what you actually would have to do is go find a picture of younger Scone where I did not have facial hair, where I would grow out my hair, and then you could see that picture and how it would look there. I don't know. I think that's a good look.
I think they should Photoshop the Slim Shady hair on you. Do that, Chuck. Let's see what that looks like.
Okay.
Because that could play with the beard. Or if you want to get really crazy, dye the beard.
You'd have to dye the beard. See, I wouldn't have blonde hair and a dark beard. That's why this looks so unnatural. Besides, this is like he has like an auburn colored hair.
You'd get like a Hollywood Hogan look on it though if you did that.
Which is terrible. And Hogan was 60 years old and looked stupid.
At least.
He was a caricature at that point. I mean, of course. But see, this is like an auburn color hair and my black beard. You know, it doesn't match.
No, it does. I mean, it does.
That's why this looks atrocious. Like, what if you did that? Just cover up that part, you know?
Oh.
Chuck, go find a picture of me when I was younger, when I didn't have the beard, and then Photoshop the Joey B hair on so you don't see the stark contrast of the brown hair, the auburn Joey B hair, and my black beard. I understand what he's doing there, but he picked a very unflattering combo. Or I got a better idea. I got a better idea. How about I show you a picture of me when I had hair?
Yeah, that works.
Like, let me go back to when I was 23 and had a flowing mane. How old's Joe Burrow right now?
Joey B.
25?
I was going to say 27.
Joe Burrow's got to be... No, he's not 27.
He's not?
Come on, man.
I don't know. Joe Burrow's 27. Anyway.
He's 27?
December 10th,
oh my God.
1996.
So he'll be 28 in December?
He'll be 28 in December.
Bro, he's getting old, dog. You better hurry up and win something.
Joe Burrow was damn near 25 at LSU.
No, he wasn't 25 when he was at LSU. He did play a 5th year, so he'd have been 23,
24.
Boy, 19 has been 5 years.
Yeah, I know. God, it was so good.
I know. How about that? Joe Burrow's 27.
He's 27. I thought so.
5 years since 2019. You blink.
And it just goes by. Flash a light.
You blink and all of a sudden you don't have hair anymore.
There you go.
And then guys are photoshopping Joe Burrow's hair on your head. So I was 27 when I started hosting AFR. So we could go find a photo of, well, even 27.
I was about to say, did you have hair?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
I did. But I was already thinning at 27. I was thinning at 23.
We need high school Scone. We need a picture of high school Scone is what you're saying.
No, you need
Catholic high Scone.
No, you need LSU Scone.
Okay.
That's whenever I let it go and had the flow, and that was my prime. Was when I was at LSU. Oh my God, we're so late. I was going to tell you a story. All right, I'll tell you the story to wrap up the show next. It's about when I was balding, what a boss I had at one point said to me in a parking lot encounter. You'll like the story. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, there's just no sense in living in Louisiana in the summer if you don't have a pool. And the absolute best company to call to build your custom pool or to renovate or remodel your current pool is Duplessis Builders. Go to duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. You want to design and build your backyard paradise? Duplessis Builders can help you do it. That's Derek Duplessis, who was working as an engineer, had a career pivot, built 8 pools in his first year. The next year did more than 60, and now it's the fastest growing pool company in our area because he does beautiful quality work. Ask any other pool builder what their workmanship warranty is. They'll probably tell you a year. That's the industry standard. Derek Duplessis at Duplessis Builders, 10-year workmanship guarantee. Why? Because he takes the time to do it right according to engineering standards and builds a beautiful pool that will last. DuplessisBuilders.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
So I'll tell the story really quickly. So I had to be about 23 years old, and I was working at what was then Citadel Broadcasting in Baton Rouge. And our general manager, should I say this person's name?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, you know what? Bleep it. So Donnie Piku, great dude. Really great dude. I loved working for Donnie. Studios were over there on Wooddale Boulevard. And at this point, like, I still had, I was growing up my hair long. Like, it was thick and long, but I was starting to thin in my bangs. So receding hairline getting thin, but it was still long. But I could take my bangs and probably pull it down to my chin.
Ooh, that is long.
You know? And I'm walking in one day, and Donnie was having a cigarette on the, like, out by the front door. And I guess it was a windy day or something, and so my hair was blowing, all over the place. And he walks right up to me. I mean, like, nose to nose almost, where you can see the pores in somebody's face. I would say I could smell the cigarette, but you can smell a cigarette from a mile away.
Fair.
And he just deadpans, looks right at me, goes, "Who the F you think you're kidding with that?" I was like, oh, damn, shaved my head, like buzzed it down. Man, it's been short ever since. So an ode to Donnie Pika, who might be listening, I don't know. But if you know Donnie, if he's not listening, give him a shout out. Tell him I was talking about it today. And sometimes you need those reality checks in life.
Fair.
Sometimes you need them. Anyway, all right, it's after further review. By the way, shout out, speaking of coworkers, Jared Wilson, our former coworker here at Guarantee Media, today was named the president of Bayou Traditions, which we know, of course, is LSU's collective. The collective run independently of LSU. We all sort of know the story by now, but I've known Jared ever since like literally my first day here. So wish him well with the collective there, Bayou Traditions, and hope they go on to do great things. All right, it's after further review. Hey, if you need a generator, Optimize. That's who you call. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com. Optimize with 4 physical locations. Lake Charles to Slidell, anywhere in between on the 1012 corridor. It's raining every day. It's hurricane season. If you need a Generac automatic home standby generator, or you're interested in learning more, you need Optimize. They're the best. Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer is Optimize. So go to GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com for Optimize. Again, GeneratorPeople.com. All right, it's going to do it for us here as we put a button on this Tuesday edition of AFR. Tomorrow, excited about it, Saints open up training camp. We'll get you a Saints camp report. Ross Jackson is going to be with us every day of Saints camp out in Irvine to give us a camp report. So we'll start that tomorrow, and very excited for it. So have an awesome night. Muse Pauly, thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, get to remind you about First South Farm Credit. Of course, go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you are thinking of buying land, your first call, your first option, your first web visit, First South Farm Credit. Remember the name, First South Farm Credit. People in agriculture, for more than 100 years, you've known about First South Farm Credit. You need 1,000 acres for your farm, First South Farm Credit, you know who to call. But what you and I and maybe the average Louisianan may not know is, you want to buy that recreational property? You want to buy that 20 acres to build your dream home? First South Farm Credit can help you finance that land. Why is First South Farm Credit a better option than another lender? Because since 1916, for more than 100 years, First South Farm Credit has done one thing better than anyone: help Louisianians buy land. They know who they are. First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.